Hello everybody, welcome back to Sector 1. We are here tonight for the third installment of the Monza Enduro here in Season 9. Of course, third up, it is Division 3, of course. My name is Lenosis, and joining me in the commentary box tonight is your Division 3 race director, Gur. How are we doing tonight, Gur?
Hi everyone, really well. Looking forward to this. 2 hours at Monza is not an easy race whatsoever. And after the first two races at this track, I'm really looking forward to this. Group 3, notoriously competitive, so will be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I've long said that this Division 3 field is one of my favourite to watch along here in Sector 1. And the idea of a couple of different strategies in tonight's race is quite the spectacle. And looking forward to this. Speaking of strategy, of course, this is the types of strategies that we have this evening. Of course, we have the 4-stop, which would be the favoured strategy for most of these guys here tonight. We've seen it in Division 1. That was the strategy that eventually won that race with Goaty. And then last week at in Div 2, we didn't see many people try the 3-stop. I think it was just the 1-stop. The 4-stop, sorry. So I'm not too sure many people take the gamble on the 3-stop. 3-stop really requires a lot of people to be on it. That sort of pack mentality to use the traffic to hold everybody up. But on paper, straight away, the 4-stop does seem like the clear strategy. And of course, we have the 2-stop there, which is doable. But I don't think many people will be jumping at the 2-stop in this Division 3 field. Let's have a look at our track map for this evening's race. It is, of course, 2 hours around the Monza circuit. It's 5.7 kilometers, 11 turns, 3 times tyre wear and 2 times fuel wear. We have 12 times time progression with a 6-litre refuel rate. As with the rest of the season, only the racing soft tyre will be in use for this evening. And we'll just have a quick look at the points standings for this evening. So we're only looking at the left-hand column. We have Revs leading the championship with Excel there in second place, 6 points behind. We have Sizzling Sausage lining up third with Black Project in fourth. Snake Eyes there in fifth. Dadson, no, not Dadson. Carbon Boy in sixth. Big J in seventh. Cruisin' eighth. The Stranger 9th, Budsy 10th, Freelix 11th, VF 12th, Wartime 13th, and 14th is Renegade. Now, Gur has some news on some late scratching in tonight's race, unfortunately. We only are running 12, isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right. It looks like Cruisin's not able to make it, and XL's not able to make it just with internet issues. So that'll drop us down to the 12. That said, a very competitive 12.
Yeah, exactly. And due to the nature of the late scratchings, we weren't able to get in any next-in-line replacements to fill in, unfortunately. So, yeah, we're left with 12 for tonight. As we're getting close to the qualifying start time, it is, of course, a 10-minute qualifying session. And around this Monza circuit, long straights, heavy braking zones, very crucial traction zones around this circuit. The lap times are very, very tight. We've seen very tight margins both in the Division 1 and Division 2 qualifying so far. In Division 1, of course, a 10th separating the top 5. And I think Excel last week with one of the best teams points fill-ins we've ever seen in Sector 1. Blitzed the Division 2 field and qualified on pole position and finished the race in second place. So that qualifying session looking absolutely tasty. It's going to be a tasty one to watch. That's for sure. Just want to take the time to thank everybody for coming out this evening, supporting the stream. We see Rainbow Socks in chat, Shadow Racing, Warpig in chat, Robert Rice in chat, Evolution Sim Racing. Thanks for coming out, everybody, and supporting the Sector 1 stream. It's going to be a brilliant night of racing, I can tell already. Those converging strategies, battles up and down the field. I mean, Monza, it just throws up some brilliant racing action. And looking forward to everything it throws up over the next 2.5 hours of on-track action. As the time is 6:59, we are getting ready to smash that big button. The most important question that's on everybody's mind is, Gur, what color have you painted the big button this evening?
Green tonight. Just keep it
Nice.
simple. Keep it simple. Actually, I'm just trying to track down one driver. It looks like Stranger has left the room.
That's
Just give
all
me
right.
just give me 1 sec. I'll see if I can find him.
He should be joining back momentarily, but we should be able to stall for a minute or two. We are running on schedule tonight, which first time in a while we've been running on schedule, so
Yep.
we can afford a couple of minutes. Of course, it is just the one division this evening, so not too fussed on being a couple of minutes here and there. We see the prospector in chat as well. Nice to see you all this evening. Make sure as well, if you're already in chat, to smash that like button. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, we're currently sitting at 5 likes, which is quite good for the first 10 minutes of the stream, it must be said. Very happy with everybody this evening. I'm not too sure where Stranger is. Maybe just gone to change the oil in his car, perhaps.
It could be a pre-2 hour preparation walk, but I'll just double check. Won't be a sec.
As we shouldn't be too long. We shouldn't be too far away from the 10-minute qualifying session. Now, as we saw last week, it's not important where you qualify, as it's a long way to go. You're looking at 5 racing stints if you're on the 4-stop strategy, so it's a long time to settle in and make a mistake, potentially, that could see you at the back. What I know for certain is that the winner of this race is going to be the person who makes no mistake and doesn't get a penalty, because penalties are going to be crucial around here. Very easy to pick one up when you're coming to Della Roggia on the entry, or even through the middle of that chicane and through Ascari on exit as well. Very, very easy to pick up a half-second or second penalty. So we'll have to be on penalty watch tonight and see who picks up those penalties. Hopefully.
Yeah, certainly played a role in our test starts. I think probably half the field at one time during the various starts picked up a 0.5 or a 1 second penalty through the first 2 chicanes. So, yeah, very much like that. Just had word from the Stranger, just trying to enter the race, and just some tech issues with that. So, may just have to give him a minute. He's reset whatever he can reset. So, just trying it now. Yeah, definitely tonight, the different strategies, even with 4 stops, I think we'll see some variation, because fuel does come into play a little bit. Refuel rate at 6. You can pick up a few seconds with a save, being in a slipstream train. Tyres also make a bit of difference here. That the speed over the closing laps of each stint can vary quite significantly. So we've got tunes with low aero and high mechanical grip. Some of those tunes from the first 2 rounds have been a bit hard on tyres, where, you know, the sort of moderate mechanical, higher aero are a bit more tyre friendly. So that can see times vary towards the end of the stint. And believe it or not, the undercut and overcut has influenced track position in the first 2 races here. So all little things that sort of throw a bit of spice into a plain 4-stop strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, the variation of the 4-stop is that, well, for these Div 3 guys, we have it listed there that there's going to be 67 laps or 66 laps, I believe. But if a lot of these Div 3 guys aren't going to make that 66 lap, so that would make them lucky, because it would mean they only have to do 5 stints of 13 on the 4-stop. Where if they make that 66 lap, they've got to try and work in that 14th lap somewhere. And it'll be interesting to see whether some of those guys take that at the start of the race or middle of the race or wherever. But it's just going to be interesting. We saw last race in Div 2, we saw GTR take his 14 lap stint at the start of the race in that first stint. And then he was free flying for the other 4 13 lappers in that race. So just those little things, the variations of strategy, where it can sort of impact your track position and whether you need to get that track position or just save at a certain point of the stint. Yeah, it just comes down to that ultimately for some of these guys. So that 14th lap may come into play, where for about half the field, where the other half might just go for 13 lappers straight away. We have 18 in chat at the moment, so do us a favour and chuck down below who you think is going to get pole position, who is going to get the race win, and who's going to get fastest lap. I mean, hard to discount Revs. He's the championship leader at the moment. Had a tough round at Monza. I mean, not at Monza, at Bathurst. Now he's here at Monza. I mean, it's a recipe for a great drive, it must be said. And now driving a privateer car, so, I mean, he's got it all to play for, that's for sure.
Yep, and we got the stranger in and we got him ticked in, and we've just had a driver, unfortunately, leave the grid.
Oh.
Sizzling sausage. I'll just try to work out in the chat what's going on there.
He'll be back, says Stranger. Oh dear, they're holding us up, keeping us behind schedule. That'll be a $1,000 fine.
Yeah. All Rumbos for the commentary team.
Yeah. So Dadson's put into chat all Revs tonight. So going to be interesting to see how it plays out. We saw quite a number of fill-ins last week. Budsy, Sausage, and Excel were the 3 fill-ins for Div 2 last week, and it played out beautifully for them. They were right at the pointy end of the field, so I expect more of the same this week. Sausage and Budsy, they've already had 2 hours under their belt, so I think they have the potential to go all the way this race. So my dark horse in this one is going to be Sausage. I think he's going to perform brilliantly, and I think that he might get there in the end and take either pole or P1 in the race. Going to be interesting to see how that plays out, though. We have a number of drivers who are in it. Big names who proved themselves last week, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. That's for sure, isn't it, Gur?
Oh, absolutely. And I think qualifying is going to be quite remarkable. So from the practice times, there was certainly a lot in the pretty much flat, low 48s, high 47s. There were a couple of screamer laps in the low 47s. So I wouldn't be surprised here from a few candidates that we actually see a 46 sneak into the quali numbers.
Well, Excel last week in Div 2, he set a 46.8 pole time, but unfortunately he's not here this week. So in qualifying, will we see a 46? It's a bit up in the air, left to be desired, but we'll just have to wait and see. Where is Sausage?
Sausage.
There's a sausage on the loose, somewhere floating around the Black Rose garage, and somebody needs to knock on the porta potty door and get him into the car ASAP. Otherwise, he's going to miss this qualifying session, and nobody wants to see that. We're already 7 minutes behind schedule due to some last-minute toilet breaks, it must be said. Luckily for the drivers, this is probably the one race of the season where we're running one division where we can allow a few extra minutes here and there. Because we're only running the one division tonight.
All right, we're in. We've got all in and everyone's ticked in. I'll just put a note up to let them know.
Here we go. 12 drivers biting at the bit to get going here for this 10-minute qualifying session here at Monza. Third installment of the total 8 hours. Here we go. The big green button has been pressed.
Countdown, 3 seconds.
So we are about to make our way onto the track. As session has begun. Looks like Carbon Boy will be the first one out of the pit lane. And Revs. So, wait, no, is it Revs? No, that's Stranger.
Stranger.
Yeah. It must be said, Stranger's livery and Revs livery look quite similar. As I mentioned earlier, Revs, with the dissolving of REM and Red Mist, we have quite a few privateers on the grid at the moment. Revs in that purple and black livery, it must be said. I think the Stranger has done up all of the liveries for this week, and they just look spectacular. Have a good close look at the Revs livery there. Looks spectacular. Big major sponsor on the side there with some flamage. Looks nice on that car. Speaking of flamage, we're gonna get some cars shooting flames later on tonight when the sun starts to set and the headlights come on in the final hour of this race. It's gonna look spectacular. But until that point, we're gonna be looking at the side of Rev's car until that point of the race. We have the Stranger out front at the moment, as we just saw the championship leader Revs second out on track. We have Renegade in the Hooncorp Esports entry for this evening. Snake Eyes, the second of the privateers in this one this evening. That same major sponsor on the side, similar livery, but it's a orange, black, and green car for Snake Eyes. Matches Snake Eyes' snake logo, his profile picture there. Looks quite good. We see on the number plate as well at the back. The Snake Eyes on the back of that car, so looking quite good.
Snake Eyes into the pits, straight up.
Must be running to a number in qualifying. Knows his qualifying strategy here. Fourth out on track is Carbon Boy, who flies down towards the Renifio chicane. Frelix, the second Hooncorp entry out on track this evening. We have Big J in the Symmetry Motorsports car. Seventh driver out on track. We have Wartime just behind in the Boxer Beauty Brocchio 5 Sim Racing car. Budsy, the third privateer on the grid this evening. And he's running a nice red and blue livery this evening. Looks quite the part. Once again, made up by the Stranger. Third privateer out here tonight, and what a story it would be if one of these privateers is able to not only get on the podium, not only win the race, but even go for a championship win. What a story that'll be. CVF just behind in the Dadson entry this evening. Adelaide Ceramic Coatings, the major sponsor on the side of that one. We have Sizzling Sausage in the Black Rose Racing entry. Unfortunately, was a victim of the new rules implemented by the stewards this season. Was a little bit naughty last week and had it coming together at the first turn of the Division 2 Enduro, landing himself a 7-point penalty. Now, the new rule is that if you receive a penalty in as a fill-in driver, that not only is a team points penalty, but it goes on your personal championship bid. So he's lost 7 points in this Division 3 title race. Currently still sitting third in the championship, I believe, though, so he should be doing all right for now. His first few lap times come in. Freelix goes 10th quicker than Carbon Boy, who slots at P2. Next is Big J, slots at third. Black Project to the top of the times. Budsy can only amount to a second place at the moment. Black Project in the Kraken Esports car currently holds provisional pole position there. BF with a 48.9. That sees him in 9th place at the moment.
Sausage is going to get this. Bang.
Oh,
47.2.
straight to the top of the times for the Black Rose car. Brilliant lap. Knocking on the...
Great lap from Black Project while I was looking at Sausage there. 147.5. Very solid opening lap.
Absolutely. Sausage with a 47.2. These guys already knocking on the door of a 46. Absolutely incredible pace from this Division 3 field so far. So we're coming to the halfway point in this qualifying session. The timer about to tick over 5 minutes in. And the top three is Sizzling Sausage, Black Project, and Budsy. So the privateer of Budsy lands himself P3 at the moment. Big J up into P6 at the moment as well. That's quite a good lap.
Budsy's purple by 2.5 tenths.
Well, right on board with Budsy as he comes through the Ascari chicane. One more corner to go. Albert, it is the final corner on this Monza circuit. has the slipstream from the Kraken Esports car ahead as well. Down through the gears, gets it turned in. Oh, leaves a little bit to be desired on the apex there. On the power now, hugs that inside. What's it going to be? 45, 46, 47, goes to pole. Not quite a 46 there.
Just a bit off a 46, and I think Grueling Sausage is just fractionally down on this lap at the last timer. Black Project in the pits, fresh tyres.
Sizzling Sausage peels in.
Sizzling Sausage, it's not silly sausage, Sizzling Sausage in the pits.
Well, he's a bit of a silly sausage after he made us wait for 7 minutes before the start of this one, but he's here now and we're underway. Big J up to P5 with that lap time as well of 47.8. Be happy with that one. Carpet Boy drops to P7 there as he overtakes Renegade there and the second Lesmo. Let's see what Revs is like at the sector split. He is up on his time, 3/10. He needs a crucial lap here. Through Ascari on the power.
Good exit out of Ascari.
Absolutely. Under the bridge now. One more braking zone. He's already 3/10 up on his lap time, but he's got to find something special in his final sector if he wants to challenge for the pole position here. Through Parabolica on the power. Oh, using all the track limits on exit. Cuts to the inside to cross the line, and he's lost quite a lot, still in the 48s. Moves him up to P8, but leaves a lot to be desired there. Wartime up into P4. He'll be happy with this so far.
Yeah, and recently progressed up to the Div 3 category.
Yeah. After his debut season last season in the NSX, Wartime found himself down in Div 4 and he's freshly promoted up into Div 3 with the sliding divisions. And he's making an impact here at Monza. P4 at the moment, 6/10 off the pole position. So can he find something in these final two flying laps?
So we've got Black Project has started the first of the flyers, completed the outlap, as Sausage is now starting his flyer. And Budsy's gone into the pits, so he'll be out, he's doing an outlap now, but he'll have one flyer left before the clock.
So right on board with Sizzling Sausage as he approaches the Redifio chicane. Gets it turned in, that's a beautiful line through there on the power. Lots of control, that Black Rose car is on absolute rails on the power. Through Curva Grande now. What's the sector split going to be as he approaches the De La Roccia chicane? He's up, marginally 0.02 of a second. Gets it turned in,
Black
absolutely perfect.
In front of him.
Uh-oh, that's not gone well for Black Project. And that's in between the two. Oh, that's the second Lesmo there.
Just after Lesmo's second, yep,
Yeah.
on the exit.
We'll catch that on the Liquid Solutions action replay. Through the second Lesmo, caught the AstroTurf, spears it into the wall, very easy to do.
47.5 by Big J, puts him into third. And Sausage is slightly down on the last split.
Ascari
And
now.
I think I just saw him into the wall at the Parabolica.
Who's that, sorry?
A Sausage. I think it was.
No, Sausage is coming down the straight into the Parabolica now. Somebody was in the wall.
Someone was, absolutely.
Round Parabolica now.
Just
What's it going to
see
be
them
for
on the
Sizzling
left there.
Sausage? Can he find a 10 in the... Oh, it was Freelix. There he is. He's down only just. And he's going to be the first to finish, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. So
But he's
doesn't
on
get
his
that
final lap
lap.
on fresh tyres.
So right on board with Budsy. And he's up, he's purple. Through De La Roccia. Taking as much sausage curb as possible on the exit there. Into the first Lesbo now. Gets it turned in, down through the gears. Third gear is the gear he selects. Where does he brake? At the 15-meter board. Turns it in. On the power now. Through Lesmo 2. A little bit of a shake of the steering. Keeps it pointed in the straight line though. Down towards Ascari. This is going to be the critical point on the lap. So easy to mess it up. But such a massive amount of time to be gained. 300ths purple. Gets it turned in. Looks like he's nailed it. Yes, he does. That was perfect. Down towards Parabolica now.
Project is purple. He's up 1/100th of a second going through, heading down the straight to the Parabolica.
It's going to be tight between Black Project and Budsy here. What can Budsy find through Parabolica? On the power now. Renegade improves his lap time. And he's going to cross the line. Is he into the 46ers? Yes, he is! What a lap from Budsy. But can Black Project improve? Let's see what it's going to be through Parabolica now. Can he find 6/10ths? That's the question. It's going to be tight. Oh, goes
PB
third bastard. What a lap.
Purple up to that last split. So great final sector by Budsy.
That came down to the wire. What a qualifying session. As we'll just have a look at the qualifying results for this one. This is how they will be lined up in a moment's time. Budsy takes the pole position with a 146.9. Sizzling Sausage there in second place, 2.5 astray. Black Project goes 3,000ths behind Sizzling Sausage. Very, very tight margins there to complete the podium in qualifying. Big J occupies the second row of the grid, 5/10 astray of the pole position. Wartime there in 5th place, joins Freelix on the 3rd row of the grid. Carbon Boy and Revs there, 7th and 8th respectively. We have Renegade in 9th, Snake Eyes 10th, The Stranger in 11th, and VF will be lining up from the rear. Now that the qualifying grid is sorted, it's important to remember that the qualifying isn't everything here, and it'll be massive to see who makes their way up and down the grid when people inevitably make mistakes. It's a long way to go. Around that hour-and-a-half mark is when that fatigue is really going to set in. It's going to be a big one, that's for sure.
We've just had a driver jump over the pit wall. He's running out the back to the caravan for a comfort break.
Yeah.
I've given him 2 minutes.
Yeah, they get a little bit of a break
3.
before we start this one, just because it is such a long race. They get to stretch their legs, go for a whiz in the loo, and then they can get underway. So, Nif is just putting chat as well that pole was quicker than Nif's qualification lap in Division 1. What a lap from Budsy, says Nif. Absolutely right. Brilliant stuff. Rainbow Sock says, good to know where I have to be when the community race comes. Now, important to remember for the community race that that's under BOP as opposed to tuning in the main series. So lap times should be about a second and a half off. So 47s, 48s definitely in the community series. I don't think we'll be seeing a 46 in community, but yeah, over the next few days, we'll see a thing get chucked up by Chase, and yeah, next Thursday we'll have the community series running here at Monza, and that'll be an absolute cracker. Last time we were here for the community series was back in season 7, and oh, that was a brilliant 2 races. I think Renegade came 4th in both races, and oh, that was a great performance. We saw a lot of storylines in that race. Loved that community series event. That would have been almost a year ago now. Time flies when you're having fun, I guess.
Yeah, it's just one of those tracks with the long straight, the slipstreaming, late braking into corners, into the chicanes. It really does make for close racing, and especially under BOP with the community cars. I think, yeah, the races will be a lot of fun for the drivers. And just the chat on screen, a few of the drivers telling Budsy to slow down.
Yeah.
So
Might get
I
sent
can't
up
see
to
that.
a higher class.
I'll just check if these drivers are back.
Almost ready to go on the 2 hours. It's going to be a long one here. As we'll just say hello to everybody else down below. Thanks for joining us this evening. We see Niff, James Lee, Petey Pops. We see John in chat. Muffins there. We got Morgan, Debrev. Thanks for joining us, everybody. It's really nice to see everybody coming out. Oh yeah, there's Betty in chat as well. Yeah, really great to see everybody out in chat. We've got 25 people there at the moment, so I'll repeat what I said earlier. Smash the like button. Currently on 8. I mean, would like to see it a bit higher, but I know I'm begging for likes, but you guys like it when I do that, so yeah, make sure to put down below as well in the chat who you think's going to take this one. Who's your podium predictions going to be? Because they're lined up this way. It's Budsy, Sausage, and Black Project. Are they going to skip away at the front of the field? Or is there going to be a little chopping and changing at incident, perhaps, that throws a spanner in the works here? I'd like to hear your thoughts down below.
All right, and we are right to go. Everyone's back, primed.
Oh, looking forward to this one.
I'll push the button, and we're away.
Hopefully for the last time, the big green button has been smashed. We're about to get underway for the 2 hours. The Liquid Solutions Division 3 Enduro. 2 hours of grueling racing action about to get underway here. As all the drivers line up on the grid.
Yep, 12 drivers on the grid, we're good to go.
1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, revs rising! And we're out and racing here at Monza for the Liquid Solutions Division 3 Enduro. As it looks like everybody gets off to a clean start. They're 3 wide in the background. This is brilliant Monza action that you love to see. They've managed to sort themselves out. Do we see action into Redifio? No, it seems pretty calm. These guys very sensible. They made their way through there at the moment. Yeah, you'll love to see that. But Sausage has taken the lead of the race. He's got the better of Budsy as they fly through Curva Grande now. Those two, Sizzling Sausage and Budsy, could not be separated at all in the 2 hours of Division 2. And they're continuing that trend here now in the Division 3 race. They're attacked by a rope as they fly through the Della Roggia chicane. Black Project tagging along too. A little bit of breathing room back to Big J, who has the championship leader in revs right behind him, who's made up a bunch of positions off the start there. Wartime there in 6th position. We have Carbon Boy in 7th. Very much a train at the moment of cars. No real moves happening or possible unless somebody gets a poor exit out of the Lesbos. VF finds himself still down there in 12th. See Sizzling Sausage, 8/10 astray of Budsy, who in turn is 8/10 ahead of Black Project. But these three have absolutely skipped away of Big J, who is under a lot of pressure from the championship leader of Revs. The Privateer is going to try around the outside at Parabolica. Can he get alongside? Yes, he does. Fires it around the outside. Can he get that done? Yes, he does. What a move from Revs there. Slides his way up into P4. Gets that move done. Brilliant stuff. But he's going to have to be on the defensive straight away as Big J's looking to the outside now. Looking to try and return to sender. He's going to be a whole car length in front. Is Revs going to be able to fire it down the inside to the Redifito? I'm not sure he will. He's going to have to settle for 5th place at the moment. As we see Wartime cutting that first part. Oh, Wartime's gone!
Wartime's.
Oh!
Just as, and Revs dropped a right rear into the gravel. That really compromised his exit speed.
That's gone badly for Wartime. As we're going to have a look on the Liquid Solutions action replay at just what happened there for him. We're right on board into the Redifio chicane. Manages to get it. Oh, just lights up the rears on the exit. Very, very easy to do. He's going to find his way back into P9. So lost 3 positions from that exchange. Looking back up the front, Sizzling Sausage He's cleared by a second and a half over Budsy, who's got a very racy looking Black Project right behind, 4/10 behind. Big J, 2.5 seconds astray of Black Project, but he's managed to hold off Revs, who, after dropping a wheel off at Redifio, unable to really close and capitalize on Big J's. Oh! Who's that? Is that Black Project off into the dust? He is too! So we'll catch that on the Liquid Solutions action replay on the exit of Ascari. How's he done that? Right up behind Budsy, and then all of a sudden, on the exit of Ascari, how's he... Oh, huge moment over the AstroTurf, and he keeps it out of the wall. That's a brilliant job to keep that out of the wall. Absolutely brilliant stuff from Black Project there. And now he's under threat from Big J. Big J's going to slide himself up into the podium place. Black Project's going to try and keep the nose in the door. He's going to try and run the outside. That's not going to work.
Sorry, Big J.
But Revs is right there as well. Is Black Project going to be on the back foot now? Oh! Has Renegade had some problems? I think he's got some problems.
He's sitting down in the first chicane. It looks like he's managed to reset the technical issue with the wheel.
I think he might be in auto drive there. So something not going well for Renegade, having wheel issues at this point of the race. Not going well. So he's at the back of the pack at the moment, quite a while way off the back of the field. But as it stands at the moment, Sizzling Sausage, he's got 2 seconds back to Budsy, who has 3 seconds back to Big J. We have a nice little battle pack of 4 cars. Big J, Black Project, Revs, and Carbon Boy. With about an 8/10 gap back to Freelix and Snake Eyes there, 7th and 8th. Wartime still in 9th place after his moment at the Redifio chicane. We have the Stranger and VF, which VF is looking very, very racy. He's got a penalty. That's not going to be good for him. We'll be serving that in a moment's time as well there, VF. He's going to drop off the back of Stranger.
Rev's got a great run out of Ascari and going onto the main straight. He's right in slipstream, but Carbon Boy's had an absolute screamer through the Parabolica.
Absolutely. Pulls alongside of the championship leader and gets the move done in a straight line. Absolute muscle on that APR automotive car. And now he's looking to, for Black Project. Is he going to get 2 for 1 here? Dives down the inside. Oh, and now Revs has got his nose in the door. Gives the room. He's going to try around the outside of Black Project. He gets shuffled out though. And now he's going to slot in behind.
And under a bit of pressure from Freelix.
This is a brilliant battle going on between these 4. But now, Carbon Boy's looking to the inside of Revs. No, Revs is looking to the inside of Black Project. They're 2x2. Oh, a little bit of contact on the apex. But Black Project can defend it successfully. No! Moment on the exit. Revs is going to go through. So is Carbon Boy. Oh!
Massive drift from Carbon Boy.
Huge slide there. Shoulder nose from Black Project. Carbon Boy loses slipstream range from Revs. And Revs is released from this battle pack. Now, Snake Eyes getting involved there as well.
And Revs has quickly opened up a gap, 1.3 on Carbon Boy, because those guys racing as hard as they were down about 4 seconds off the leading trio. So Revs has got a bit of a job now to pull that back in.
Lots of chopping and changing at this point of the race. I mean, are some of these guys forgetting that it's a 2-hour enduro? We're only 10 minutes in.
Yeah, and I know in the Div 2 race there was a split in the pack, and once the second half of the field dropped off the first half, it was very, very hard to fight that back. You're relying on mistakes and that sort of thing to get there.
As we'll have a look on the replay here at just what happened between these guys. So Revs goes through, and then Carbon Boy looking side to side. We saw Freelix getting up close and personal there as well. Carbon Boy defends that successfully. And then we saw Revs trying to fire it down the inside of Black Project into the De La Roggia chicane. A little bit of contact on the apex. moment from Black Project. Carbon Boy gets involved. Oh, contact from Black Project. They continue on. So that's some great racing from those guys.
Carbon Boy's picked up a 1 second penalty somewhere there.
Oh, that's not gone well for the APR Motorsport driver. That's going to drop him a long way back because he has a lot of cars in the pack behind him.
I think both Freelix and Black Project will get him through here because that's a harder penalty to serve, that 1 second.
I'd say you either got that from Redifio or Della Roggia just on the entry. He's 2/10 up on his time though, so he's driving like a madman at the moment.
And actually, even Snake Eyes could come into this.
Let's see how much of an impact this has on Carbon Boy. Oh, he's going to drop all the way behind Snake Eyes here. Oh, it's going to be tight between those two actually. No, Snake Eyes buzzes on by. Carbon Boy down to 8th place. That's a harsh penalty, especially with so many drivers waiting in the wings. But that's what I was saying, the driver who keeps it on the black stuff, penalty free, is going to be the one that takes the win here tonight. So they start the 6th lap here around the famous Monza circuit, the Temple of Speed. This Renegade looks like he's still going here, and it looks like he's out of auto drive mode. He's slowly catching up to VF there at the back of the pack. Check in with the leader as well, Sizzling Sausage. How's the fastest lap at the moment? 3.5 seconds over the privateer of Budsy. Big J's another 3.5 seconds back.
Quite notable too. 4 mid 47s in a row after the start lap. And Budsy's sitting on 3.47s and a low 48. It's extreme high pace.
Yeah, this is brilliant pace from these guys. 47.6, 47.2, 47.5, 47.5. Absolutely insane pace from Sizzling Sausage here. And Budsy isn't too far behind either. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what lap time it's going to be as he flies through Ascari now on the power. Down towards Parabolica. Gets it turned in. And is this going to be another purple lap? Hang on a minute. Where has Revs gone? Oh, he doesn't set a purple lap though. Revs has dropped from 5th place all the way down to 9th. Has he served a penalty perhaps? We'll see when he approaches the... Well, he's had a big moment on this lap because he is 7 seconds down on his lap time. Something big has happened to Revs here. He's dropped all the way from 4th to 8th place. And that's promoted everyone up 1 place. So Snake Eyes has driven this brilliantly too. He's up into 5th place. Black Project has sort of skipped away from these guys. And Carbon Boy has inherited another 2 places up into 6th now.
I think Freelix must have had an issue at the Parabolica because he was 1/10 behind Carbon Boy going into the braking zone, and when we flick to find Revs, he's now down in 9th.
Yeah.
He did go slightly deep under brakes, but there must have been more trouble there.
After we saw him qualifying with Freelix, I mean, maybe still having that braking issue into Parabolica, not working well for him. I mean, the wind direction at the moment, it's sort of a crosswind there, so it's not really a tailwind. So, I mean, if it does change to a tailwind and Freelix is already having issues, could that compound and make that even worse for him? Well, we'll have to wait and see. That's even if the wind direction decides to go that way, but yeah, definitely interesting for Freelix. Parabolica not his favourite corner on the circuit. As most of these guys, if they are on the 4 stop, they should be getting close to about halfway through their stint. So what do you say we jump into an APR tyre and fuel update there, Gur?
Absolutely. So first of all, we got sizzling sausage. I'll call the left side of the tyres. That's the more critical on this track. He's sitting at about 65% fuel, and he's used about 30% on both right front and right left. Budsy is doing what Budsy always does with fuel. He's doing a really good fuel save here. He's sitting at about 70%, so a good 5% better, and his tyres are identical to sausage in front. Big J front left is a little bit better, rear left on par with the two in front, and his fuel is in line with sausage. Black Project fuel similar to Budsy, and we know Black Project can certainly save fuel in a race and be quick, and his tyres are probably a fraction better than the three in front. Snake Eyes, same tyres as Black Project, and his fuel's in between. He's sitting just over the 65% mark. Carbon Boys, same fuel, same tyres as the guys in front. Wartime, yeah, almost identical, these guys.
Oh!
And we've just had someone off onto the grass.
Is that Black Project? It is.
Out of a scurry.
That's not gone well for Black Project. We'll come back to a replay of that in a moment, but let's just continue on with
bit of front left damage, front splitter and front left tyre. Stranger, yeah, he's a little bit less on fuel. We have gone around the lap a little bit more, but I think it's just with the positional fighting that these guys have had. Felix is identical, same fuel and tyres as the Stranger. Revs is a little bit lower on fuel than all of them, bearing in mind he's just crossed the full lap, but his left rear is certainly the worst on the track at the moment, but he is driving very hard. VF, best fuel save of the lot. That will be worth a few seconds in the pit stop, and his tyres he's looking after, though they're best with the field. And Renegade, fuel's in line with the average, tyres in line with the average. So yeah, probably the big ones there. VF's fuel save, Budsy's fuel save, and I think the tyres are pretty close at the moment.
Thank you
APR
that,
Automotive.
As we'll find Black Project on track, and we'll have a look what happened coming through Ascari.
And he's picked up a penalty post that too.
Oh no. PD doing PD things. It looks like we don't have a replay for the rest of the race, unfortunately. Bugger, that's annoying. Oh well, we continue on for now. So, yeah, to answer your question, Jack Marshall, in the chat there, if you want to get involved in the community series, you join the Discord, and there will be a post put up over the next few days, and you simply pick which team you want to represent, and then you rock up. It's BOP here at Monza. 2 20-minute races in the community series, the second being reverse grid based on race number 1, and a 10-minute qualifying to set race number 1. Always a good time, always some laughs. It's a great time in the community series. Both, what did you come from the community series there, Guru, or?
Absolutely, I think season 3 or season 4. Actually, I think I raced you there.
Yeah, I think I back in season 4 started the community series. So yeah, it was a great time. It's always you meet some great people, and there's great time in the community series, some good racing. So yeah, jump into the Discord, wait for that announcement, and jump in for the community series. Always a great drive. And then I forgot to mention the best part. From the community series, if TOs ever need a driver fill-in, they'll look straight to the community series straight away for replacements. So you're always going to be able to be on the chopping block and get into the main game potentially and race in one of these big races here at Monza. Well, not necessarily.
And
Monza,
the great thing about it, the community series normally run a few main main game drivers from various divisions. So you really do get to pick up quite quickly on racecraft and just different techniques through the replays and that sort of thing of how to drive. It's a lot different to the daily races that GT put on.
Yeah, absolutely.
A whole new level.
And biggest thing for the community series is that TOs and admin look for racecraft over anything else. We have 4 divisions here full of various different pace brackets. So no matter your pace, you're always going to find a way, find a slot. You're going to slot in perfectly fine. But yeah, keep it clean and you'll be looking at a full-time drive, that's for sure. Anyway, back to the racing action. Looks like Carbon Boys managed to get ahead of Snake Eyes now for P4.
Yeah, so they're actually holding station for the last lap or so. Snake Eyes, Carbon Boy and Wartime. So it'll be really interesting just if they do anything different in the pit strategy, whether they run short or long at that 13 lap, 24-minute mark.
Yeah, absolutely. We are getting close to the end of the stint. Lap 11. From that strategy graphic that we saw at the start, it's looking like either 13 or 14 laps for this first stint. So, interesting to see how that plays out.
And also, too, the car needs a bit of respect at this stage. They can behave like a wet dog on lino at the moment. Just their tyre, especially on the left-hand side, are compromised. So it does take a little bit of care in these final 2 or 3 laps before they pit.
Absolutely.
And you'll see Sausage has now moved into the 48.6, 48.7 range, which is direct relation to the grip on that left-hand side. Budsy's 48 and a flat 49, so similar differential.
Oh, pops back into the 48s on that last lap as well.
Yep.
So Sausage showing great consistency, sort of that wear that you would expect, as Guru was saying. No real pressure at the moment for him. He's holding that gap, 4.5 seconds. Now, what's the fuel situation looking like between those two, did you say? Like, who sort of has the upper hand between these two?
Definitely Budsy by about, I'd say, 5%. It is a high refuel rate, but it just depends whether they fuel just for the distance or choose to take a little bit more and run that, say, that longer lap that will probably be needed somewhere during the race.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting because with that higher refuel rate, Sizzling Sausage just skipped away at the start, and looks like Budsy is conserving just a bit more, save that extra 5%, but it's not really worth it at the start of this race, as you've seen. I mean, he's really only going to save a second, if that, 0.8 of a second, and that just depends how much they put in the car after. Now, Budsy could probably try and underfuel, I guess, get some track position, but then he's just going to be compromised at the end of the stint anyway. So, yeah, unless Sizzling Sausage gets some penalties, makes a few mistakes, I mean, already at this point in the race, it's looking a bit grim for Budsy. Long way to go, though.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And I guess whether you fuel for track position or come out behind someone and ride their slipstream for a bit. But it's the other tricky part of this, it's, as you said before early in the call, it's just not the 13 laps. You've really got to watch that timer, because it's 4 stops every 24 minutes. And if you do stop short, you do have to do that extra lap.
Which, 13th lap now, we should expect to see some of these guys into the pit lane. Maybe some on next lap, but yeah, majority in this lap, I feel.
Yeah, I think so, yep.
Snake Eyes, half-second penalty. That's not gone well for him. Let's pick that up somewhere. Wartime's dropped off the back of Snake Eyes a bit. It looked like he was giving him a little bit of grief for a moment there. Moment or two.
We'll have to keep an eye on Revs. He's back to 10th, so I'm not sure. It's been another moment, so it looks like Felix and the Stranger have both got past him.
Which it is double points this race. So Revs will need to really... He's only got a 6-point championship lead, but in third place he's got about 20, just sizzling sausage. So, oh, he's gone off as well. Oh, at the second Lesbo then. Catch that on... Oh, I forgot. We don't have the replay. Oh, well. Wow. Gran Turismo doing Gran Turismo.
We're seeing Sausage. He's going in. So he's in the pits. Will Budsy follow? Yeah, he's holding a tight line. He's in there as well.
Big J.
And Big J.
Going to be. Yes, he's in as well.
35, four litres different there.
Boy in as well. Snake Eyes, Black Project. Did Black Project come in? Yes, he did. Freelix, Revs, Stranger. Revs comes in. VF. Yeah, everybody in this lap. Sausage's already come out. How much did he put in the car, by the way? I missed that, sorry.
Sausage 76, Budsy 78, and Big J 77. So it's basically the time it takes to click your finish button.
Yeah.
But Budsy's picked up out of the pits, out of that pit stop, 0.6 of a second. It was 4.4 going behind going in.
Yeah, and then negligible fuel going into the tank. So personally feel the most there was Carbon Boy. So he's got a lot in his reserves that he can use to either defend from Snake Eyes or bridge a gap over Snake Eyes. Gap currently 8/10, so it'd be in Snake Eyes' best interest at the moment to just sit in that slipstream, conserve a little bit of fuel potentially, or even just push to try and get through. I mean, this fresh set of tyres.
Let Carbon Boy do the work for a while.
Yeah. I mean, Snake Eyes has already closed up that gap to 4/10, so Carbon Boy is struggling on those cold tyres at the moment, where Snake Eyes has just immediately turned it on and closed that gap up drastically. Oh! Wartime's into the fence! And now he's going to get overtaken by Black Project. We saw that in the background there. Fortunately, no replay due to Gran Turismo dumbness, but Wartime looked like he just got it stuck up on the ripple strip. Slides into the wall potentially. Is there damage on that Rocky 05 car?
Yeah, it'll take a little bit to fix that. He's now good.
So
2 tenths between Snake Eyes and Carbon Boy.
Something's happened here as well, as Revs has dropped below VF for P11.
And Renegade's, unfortunately, he's got a lot of trouble. I was on board with him before, and the car was just not turning in. So it's definitely got some wheel issues.
As Carbon Boy defends that successfully over Snake Eyes through Redifio. Oh, he picks up a 1-second penalty. That's not gone well for Carbon Boy. Snake Eyes gets off penalty free. So all that Snake Eyes has to do now...
Second 1-second penalty.
All that Snake Eyes needs to do now is stay penalty free, and 4th place will be his.
And Sausages reacted to Budsy picking up that differential in the first sector of the outlap. He's pulled out to 4.3 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a half second over the course of lap 15.
Continuing on now, we're approaching the quarter mark of this 2-hour race. As Carbon Boy will be serving that penalty. He's bridged a slight gap to Snake Eyes, but it's going to be tight between Black Project and Carbon Boy when he serves that penalty. Ooh, Black Project has dropped off the back quite a bit as well. Not the best exit through Ascari, so Carbon Boy gets a little bit of breathing room, and now he can keep his head down and try and push on to Snake Eyes. Has the fuel advantage, of course, put 84 in the tank. He's has already closed that gap of 6/10, and that gap is drastically coming down. Perhaps a change in tunes between the two cars. APR Motorsports tune, I can say, doesn't run a lot of downforce, so that privateer car of Snake Eyes. Oh, Snake Eyes has turned now. He's picked up 1 second, so now the roles are going to be reversed on this lap. If Carbon Boy can stay penaltyless, he will re-inherit 4th place from Snake Eyes.
And it'll also bring Black Project, I think, into the mix here, because he will pick up a few tenths through the course of the lap, and that'll bring him into fighting range through the penalty.
Now, those of you who can remember back all the way to Season 6 will remember the 4th place curse, which haunted Division 3 all the way back at St. Croix back in Season 6, that season opener. The first ever race on Gran Turismo 7 that we did in Sector 1. And every car that was in 4th place either got a penalty and dropped behind or spun out and crashed. So it's quite crazy that it seems to be coming back now. Everyone who seems to be in 4th place in this race messes up or gets a penalty and loses that position. But if you can't,
we'll see Black Project come through here.
Let's have a look. Is he going to get him? It's going to be tight.
Just short.
Yeah, looks like Black Project's right within slipstream range now. So these two bickering and getting penalties has brought him right back into the thick of it here. Was 2.5 seconds behind just 2 laps ago, but now within slipstream range of the 2 ahead. Well, I say 2 ahead, I mean it's just Snake Eyes, as Carbon Boy skipped away 1.3 seconds with the help of the penalty of Snake Eyes. As a quarter way through the race, he is just about to tick over. There we go. 1 hour 30 to go, 90 minutes remaining in this 2-hour enduro. Wartime and Freelix is tight as well now. Black Project opening up that gap. 4.2 seconds to Wartime. Wartime was up there behind Snake Eyes just before the pit stop. So he's fallen back and now... Oh, he's picked up a penalty. That's not gone well for the Rockio 5 car. Especially with the Hooncorp driver, the number 21 car, sitting just behind in Freelix. VF not too far out of it either. P9 at the moment. Looks like these guys have inherited a position. Stranger may have... I
was just looking at that. He on lap 16, he had a 159. So I'm sure he was running around in 8th.
Not ideal for the Stranger. As Budsy sets a personal quickest lap on that last lap, a 47.5. Carbon Boy, half a second over Snake Eyes at the moment.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to stretch that gap out.
No. And Snake Eyes has brought Black Project with him, 1 second behind at the moment.
And a personal best, 47.7 for Snake Eyes.
He wants this P4. Man on a mission at the moment. Might be a bit close for Carbon Boy, but does that come with an invoice? No, he's turned that into perfection there through the entry of Renifio. Black Project snatched that slipstream back from Snake Eyes. 9/10's the gap at the moment. Carbon Boy gets a crucial exit there, still opening up that gap, and he is purple at the, through that first sector. It is a chicane and a right-hand kick, but very easy, very crucial traction zone through that first sector.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see just what comes out of this second round of pit stops, because we do have a few cars that are sitting probably 7% or so less fuel than the others. Whether it was a miscalculation or they're just running to a different gearbox rev situation.
I mean, I I do know Carbon Boy is my teammate down at APR Motorsport, and he does like to put a little bit of extra fuel in the car. So I think if there's 7% in it,
he's probably got 10% in it. Yeah, Snake Eyes is under half, and Freelix is under half, but all the ones around him are over half to varying degrees.
which
It'll unfold.
yeah, if push comes to shove, Carbon Boy does have that buffer in the fuel tank now. So Snake Eyes, I guess, will just have to manage that gap. Maybe running to a number. We'll have to wait and see as the race goes on. I mean, look at that gap. Opened up 4/10 in the braking zone of Redifio there. So maybe a lift and coast from Snake Eyes potentially. Might be able to confirm or deny for us there, Guru.
Yeah, he just did a 47.9, so his personal best for the race on last lap. So he's definitely closing up.
Yeah, Black Project there or thereabouts. Sort of just struggling to keep pace with that slipstream range from the guys ahead. Sort of ebbing and flowing around that 9/10, 1.1 second mark. And now Carbon Boy, he's put a gap on enough of Snake Eyes. He's actually broken that slipstream range, which is going to be quite crucial here. Because now, if Snake Eyes was holding that gap behind to Black Project with the slipstream, but now, if he loses that slipstream, Black Project might even close back up to Snake Eyes. But bad moment there through Carbon Boy. Through
Snake Eyes picked up 3/10, through a scurry. And he's on his personal best, so that'll be left 17 and 19 in the 47s.
Yeah. Through Parabolica at the moment. And that gap, down to 7 cents. So it seems like the two cars are set up for different areas of the track. It seems Carbon Boy gains on most of the track, and then Snake Eyes pretty much gains it all, and then some through a scary potentially. Have a look through Redifio once again.
And between the P1 to 3, Sizzling Sausage is 4.2 seconds, so they've been ebbing and flowing a little bit, but that seems to be the gap that's cemented now. Budsy is around 11.2 seconds in front of Big J, and that's just gone out slightly, maybe by a second over the last lap or two.
Quite a boring race for Big J so far.
Yeah. Concentration comes into play over 2 hours, and if you're on your own, it is tricky.
Yep. You see that gap? I was just monitoring it through Redifio, and it opened up from 6/10 to 8/10, and then through the Lesmos, Carbon Boy manages to get over a second over Snake Eyes, and then when they come to Ascari, if it's what we think, we'll see that gap drop all the way back down to about 6/10 once again through Ascari.
Yep.
Oh, straight away. Boom.
A little bit more aero on that second car, I think.
Ooh, but Carbon Boy gets a brilliant exit out of Ascari there, and immediately opening up that gap, 8/10 again. So, despite having the slipstream, Carbon Boy's still able to open up that gap all the way down towards Parabolica. So, that tells you, that's a massive story. It tells you a lot about the setups going into these cars. You see, Carbon Boy gaining on Snake Eyes in a straight line until that gap finally starts coming. It's not even coming down yet. It's still going up. That APR Motorsports car is an absolute rocket in a straight line. Under brakes through Redifio once again, and that gap straight up. Oh.
Yeah,
great exit once again.
He did roll that a little bit, but lost out on the exit. It's when you roll through there, it can be a bit tricky to get on the power quickly. Carbon Boy was purple through the first sector.
Yeah, Carbon Boy has a very strong first sector. He seems to go purple almost every single lap, and then it seems that the part of the lap where his tune lets him down is Ascari, but currently sitting just within slipstream range here. further down the field, I think I see a bit of a battle brewing. Revs and VF are 1.4 seconds at the moment. These guys have been attached for the last 7 or 8 laps or so, pretty much since the pit stop. And Revs went off, made a mistake, and then overtook VF, and not much of a gap made so far. 1.8 seconds at the moment.
Notably, the stranger since lap, I think it was lap 17, he's been able to pull back nearly 5 seconds on the leader, and that's brought him closer to VF by about 3. So, and he's on his personal best this lap.
Stranger doing well there. If he makes it the whole 2 hours, he'll be very happy with himself.
Yeah.
So, leader watch, Sizzling Sausage 4.5 seconds to the good at the moment over Buzzy. As Guru said a moment ago, ebbing and flowing, sort of around that low to mid 4 second mark. And Big J keeping good pace as well, 11.5 seconds behind. Once again, Carbon Boy and Snake Eyes still sort of sitting around that 6/10 mark. It looks like Snake Eyes was able to find something this lap.
Buzzy went a bit wide there through in between the two Lesmos.
Oh, he goes off!
He's wide again, so he'll definitely drop, I think, a second and a half, maybe more. Yep, yes, that's transpired.
Straight up to 6 seconds lead to Sizzling Sausage there. And we'll see...
I'm pretty sure... Is this a position reversal from when they had the cameos? Oh, he's off again, Buzzy. Wide.
Not having a good time at the moment in the middle part of this stint. 4 laps to go in this stint for these guys, presuming.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Buzzy finished ahead of Sizzling Sausage in their Dip 2 run last week.
Yeah.
When they were running for their teams.
They did, yeah. And Sizzling Sausage just put in the hard yakka. He's out here tonight, putting in an absolutely brilliant performance. In a league of his own at the moment. The number 16 Black Rose car leads the way at the hour 20 mark of the Monza Enduro.
Yeah, I think with his race this week, race last week, and his practice, he's probably done about 1,000 laps. So he's going well, Sausage.
Absolutely. This gap between Carbon Boy and Snake Eyes is still hovering around that 7.5 tenth mark. I mean, this is just brilliant.
So we're lap 23. We should see them come in at the end of lap 26. And at this point, Carbon will definitely have a bit of a fuel advantage from a time perspective in the pits over Snake Eyes. Black Project's also slightly up, but the differential won't be as high. Time advantage won't be as high.
Yeah. Which Black Project has dropped off 2 seconds over these guys. So he's lost about a second over the last 2 or 3 laps. So looking at the lap time history, it's not like he's had a bad lap. It's just he's lost 1/4 of a second here, 1/4 of a second there. And that all adds up. It's mounted to about a second. Felix isn't out of this either. If he can find 5 seconds over the next few stints, or even in the pits, he could be looking at a P4 as well. Like, not far out of this battle at all. Anything can happen, of course. I mean, it's a very long race. We're approaching the halfway mark in about 15 minutes time. After that, back half of this race is when that fatigue is really going to start to set in and the major mistakes are going to start to happen. Already seeing signs of fatigue from Budsy. I mean, on that lap 22, he lost 5 seconds of lap time there. Setting at 51, I mean, way off the pace. Going off the track 2 or 3 times in that lap alone, so...
Yeah, and Black Project was sketchy through a scurry. It cost him a good second. Yeah, so part tyres, part fatigue, and also, if you are, yeah, as you said before, if you are sitting in a position by yourself, it's you just need it's that concentration aspect as well. It can be tricky.
Yeah.
Wartime's picked up a 1 second penalty, and I'd say that was on the first chicane, and he's wide into second.
Could that be another penalty? He took a lot of that sausage curb, but looks like he's got away with it. So 1 second penalty, that's going to be a huge slap in the face there for number 14 car.
And just has brought Revs right into us. So Revs has been chipping away. He's past VF. He's down to 3.7 seconds. So he will be getting within striking range after the penalty served by Wartime.
A driver of the caliber of Revs maybe wasn't where the car wanted him to be at the start of this race, but we saw it with Accountant last week. The more laps you get in, that first half of the race might be a bit shaky, but when you start to get into that rhythm, a driver like Revs, they're really going to start to put in lap times. So he's P9 at the moment, but you see all the way up to P4, they're only 20 seconds down the road. I wouldn't discount Revs once he gets into the rhythm. If he can just get confident in the car, put in some proper lap times, that's just going to come down, 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 and I mean, he could even tag along to this sort of front mid-pack towards the end of the race. A long way to go.
Yeah, look at his times. I mean, he hasn't been in the 47s like a few in front, Carbon and Snake Eyes and that sort of thing, where they've had a couple of 47s sprinkled in, but very consistent 48s. He's only just dropped into the 49s, so a bit of luck his way. It'll put him right in the game.
Yep. More time, dropping 2 wheels off into the gravel there, but negligible time lost. Couple of hundreds. Back up the Sizzling Sausage, that gap out to 8 seconds, just about. Budsy there, second place, 8 seconds to Big J, and then 8 seconds back to Carbon Boy. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. And
a little bit telling, Budsy's rear tyres, left-hand side tyres, are a little bit worse than Sausage at this stage of the race, so we've 1 lap to go before that next scheduled round of pit stops.
Like Project, he's chipping away at that gap as well. 1.7 seconds to Snake Eyes, so he's picked up a bit of time somewhere. Snake Eyes closer than he has been to Carbon Boy all stint. Just under half a second there, that gap. But I think it's going to be a tall ask of Snake Eyes to actually get the move done on Carbon Boy, unless a mistake happens, just because that APR car is just a rocket in a straight line compared to Snake Eyes with the tune on that car. In a straight line down towards the Redford chicane, he's only gained 3/10 on Carbon Boy. So, I mean, a tenth, that gap dropping to 3/10, sorry. And then immediately under brakes opens up to over a second, half a second.
It's also getting a bit trickier. We're entering that European twilight, so headlights can be a bit distracting that close to your mirrors.
Yeah, pay very close attention to the exhaust pipes outside of these BMW M3s, as a lot of flames being thrown from the engines. Nice orange, purple, blue flames out the sides of these cars. I'm sure the in-house photographers here at Sector 1 will be jumping on that opportunity and taking some gorgeous photos of this Division 3 field. So maybe Snake Eyes getting held up by Black Project a little bit, because Black Project, 1.3 seconds at the moment, really closing up that gap, making inroads.
Yep, we should have Sausage in this lap. Yes, he's coming in. Lap 26, so 2 13-lap stints. 11% in the fuel. Bearing in mind that he only fueled, I think he put 76 in last stint, so Budsy's in there. Yep, 15. 7.8 was the differential on entry.
So Big J opting to take his 14-lap stint on this time around. Will then be Carbon Boy. Snake Eyes pulls in, so Carbon Boy also takes that 14-lap stint this time. So Snake Eyes quite fuel compromised. He could have done another lap if he needed to. He used about 5 or 6% on a push lap around here, but not much left to take Frelix on, even less. So, gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
I think Carbon Boy, when he comes around again and then pits, he'll still have more in the tank than what Frelix and Snake Eyes had on the previous lap by the looks of it.
Snake Eyes gone to 73. I'm pretty sure Sausage went to 79, so he might be looking at a 14 lap on this stint.
Wait, how much did he fill?
To 79.
Oh,
he
79,
went 76 on the first stop.
I thought you said 49 for a second, and I was
No.
like, wait a minute, that's not enough fuel.
And Black Project is out in front of Snake Eyes there, so looks like it was fuel. There's not much in it, but a second, yeah, that would be enough.
Got the undercut done. Now, for this stint, how much did they fuel? Are they identical cars at the moment, or does somebody have a fuel advantage?
All right, I'll just quickly go through it. Well, Big J's coming in this lap. He's on the light, so he definitely won't get another. But it gets his 14 lap stint out of the way. So he's coming in now. Actually, this is showing Carbon Boy. He's coming around. He will go in now, even though he's got plenty of fuel in the tank, but his lap times are into the 49, so he's in. So the first of the runners, Sizzling Sausage, he's running 3/4 of a tank. Budsy's less than that. He's about 60%. So he's running definitely lighter fuel. Revs is coming in now as well. We'll just see where's Carbon Boy and Big J come out.
So Black Project and Snake Eyes are still going at it. Let's see where Carbon Boy comes out. Are they going to get these guys? He is, very much so.
Maybe not. Very close in the braking area. Just. It'll be 5/10.
Yeah. So how much has Carbon Boy put in the car now? Is that another 80 or yeah?
Yeah, I'd say so. He is a little bit over the 3/4 mark, where the driver's behind him. Black Project is sitting about 60%. Snake Eyes 65%. Frelix 70. And Wartime at the 60%. So, and Revs, the other proponent who could come into this, is very similar fuel to Carbon Boy, just over the 3/4 of a tank.
Yeah, so now that Carbon Boy's got that 14 lap stint out of the bag, that means he's still got the track position too. So he is really more fuel in the car. He's done his 14 lap stint, has track position. I mean, he's done well to get into this position with Black Project and Snake Eyes behind. They're going to have to take that 14 lap stint at some point during this race.
Yeah, and look, with the fuel he's got, he can definitely afford, he'll be topping up at around the 12 laps, where the others will be topping up for the 13, 14.
Yeah,
he'll
exactly.
have a bit of advantage, either this stop or the last.
And Carbon Boy, he has that extra fuel reserve that he can use over Black Project and Snake Eyes now. So if, like these guys behind, if they're running to a number, they might not be able to afford that extra little bit of fuel to fight Carbon Boy here. So yeah,
That said, Black Project is closed right up, and he is hard to race with. He is very, very good at what he does in this sort of close quarter fighting. So it'll be interesting to see if he makes a go at Carbon Boy, or he's just happy to sit in the slipstream.
absolutely. So Frelix and Wartime, that gap 2.6 seconds. We saw those positions change around about halfway through that last stint when Wartime got a penalty. But Frelix skipped away a little bit, not too much, still within touching distance. Still has a line of sight for Wartime, because he's purple through the first sector actually.
Yeah, and Butsy's pulled some time back on Sausage down to 5.1 seconds. Looks like Sausage had considering his last outlaps have been in the 47s, he did a 49.3 and Budsy was 48.2.
And he also spent slightly longer in the pits there, 2:08.9 compared to Budsy's 2:07 flat.
Yeah.
So maybe adjusting not well to the fresh rubber on that car, just using a little bit of that buffer to make sure of it. Make sure that he's got the car where he wants it. Whereas Budsy needed to try and pull something out of the hat and is pushing straight out of the gates.
Oh, got Black Project around the outside of Carbon Boy.
Oh! Can he get it done? Carbon Boy's going to slot him behind.
But he'll have the drive through here.
Yeah, and he has an absolute rocket of a car. Is he going to fire it down the inside? Does he look to the inside? Yes, he does. Or shows the nose, decides to back out. Might try into De La Rogia.
So you're talking about aero. Carbon's car's running about 6 kilometres an hour faster down that straight than a mid-aero setting. A lot of cars are doing 263, 266. And Carbon then for a bit of slipstream touched just over 270.
Wow. As Carbon Boy's 2.5 tenths purple through that first sector.
Yeah, great run down the straight.
Through the first Lesmo.
And Snake Eyes is 6 tenths back from Black Project, so he's not. He's certainly staying in this battle.
Absolutely.
So just looking down the back. Stranger's made a little bit of time on VF. Renegade has moved forward with that as well, so he might have had a bit of a reprieve to the wheel issues. Revs is sitting in 9th, 4 seconds off war time at the moment.
Oh!
He's 3 seconds behind Freelix.
Carbon Boy just drove off the track. Perhaps reaching for the beer fridge. Yeah.
Let's put him under pressure from Snake Eyes here on the straight.
Yeah, was driving in a straight line and just weaved off to the side and caught a bit of dirt, so now under a lot of pressure from Snake Eyes.
Bit of strategy there, I think.
Yeah, did he get a bump from Snake Eyes there?
Yep. So I can say Carbon's car is doing 9 kilometres an hour faster down the straight than mine. That was 273, no slipstream. That's quick.
Black Project has skipped away in this stint as well. 1.6 seconds to the good already over Carbon Boy. I mean, lap times from Carbon Boy in the early stages of this stint looking quite undesirable. I mean, into the 49s, not even 48s or 47s, so maybe struggling to get those tyres fired up in the way he would have wanted. So
he is carrying that extra fuel load, but there's quite a differential there. And also the other thing to remember, his tyres are 1 lap fresher, so that might bring him in a bit closer towards the end of this stint.
yeah, absolutely. The gaps open up between Freelix and Wartime though. 4 seconds, last time we checked was 2.7. And Revs, he's there or thereabouts, making inroads a little. I mean,
another 0.6, 0.7, yeah.
I mean, kind of expecting Revs to charge through the field at some time in this race, but the longer in we get, the sort of longer I think it's not coming.
Yeah, he's back into the low 148s, and I'm just looking at where he pitted. He also pitted 1 lap longer, so he's had the long stint out of the way. It looks like he came in on lap 27.
So things are fairly close between the Stranger and VF at the moment as well. Oh, Stranger sets a brilliant lap there, 48.3. Sets his personal quickest.
Yeah, that differential was about 7 seconds before that round of pit stops.
Which the wind direction has changed slightly. It's more of a tailwind down into Parabolica, so this is a more desirable wind than what the race started with. So naturally, I think those lap times will fall just a little. But for Sausage, at the moment, he's just plugging along with those mid-47s. I don't really think he needs a quicker lap at this stage, unless somebody beats that lap time, which will entice him to go out and chase that lap time. He'll be getting the extra point at this stage. Gap.
Yeah, he's four 147s in a row from Sausage. That's tremendous pace.
Yep.
That set Budsy's 3 in a row.
Yeah,
they're
and
in a bit of
1,000s
a
away
different
from.
league. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Big J, he's sort of been the mediator in this race. He's coming about halfway between the gap between Budsy and Black Project. Very much found himself in no man's land, and he's not setting the lap times on fire like Sizzling Sausage and Budsy, but he's there or thereabouts, consistent lap times. He's purple through the first sector.
Yeah, purple. His 3 of the last 4 laps have been in the high 47s, so pretty solid going. He's got a good tune under him, and taking. There's a lot of chicanes here that are the entry point. It's means a lot of tenths if you get it wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Black Project is losing a bit of time to Carbon. He actually concedes the slipstream through the first Lesmo for a split second there. Will that gap drop down? It does. Carbon Boys clinched slipstream once again. Finally got the confidence in that car after the fresh boots have gone on. And they've warmed up tyres, and Carbon Boy, that fresh set of tyres will just reel in Black Project over the next few laps.
So what are we looking at? Lap 48, yeah, I think it's lap 48 is the next scheduled stop.
Should be 39.
Or thereabouts.
39 and
39,
then
yep.
I think, yeah, because 26, 13 laps, 29, 39 or 40.
Yep.
Depending who takes their 14th lap. I mean, if some people have already taken their 14th, it will be 40. But people who are yet to take it could be 39. As Carbon Boy looks very racy, shows the nose to Black Project, doesn't quite go for it for the moment. With that fresher car, more fuel in the tank, Carbon Boy pressuring Black Project for P4 here. Stranger and VF, that's closed up. That was 3 seconds, and it is now half a second to the good. So Stranger has overtaken VF and taken off down the road just a bit. So that overtake has happened somewhere quite recently, I believe. Absolute charge from the Stranger, and he's setting good pace as well. Back up to this P4 battle. These two have actually dropped Snake Eyes, and Snake Eyes has picked up a 1 second penalty. So he's really getting dropped out of this battle for P4 at the moment. Carbon Boy looking very racy. Might get the job done at Ascari if he can fire it down the inside. Very defensive from Black Project. Is going to peel to the outside. Holds the racing line. Carbon Boy. Ascari has been the weak point on the track for him so far. Straight away we see that gap out to 6 tenths. Over the AstroTurf. Immediately that gap starts coming down. The low downforce setup of that APR car. Proving to be a handful in a straight line as they come to Parabolica. 3 tenths the gap. 2.5. Superior downforce though. Black Project able to get a touch of breathing room. The Carbon Boy on the power. Straightens it out and immediately closes up. 2 tenths. 1.5 tenths. We could see him move down into Redifio. Pulls to the inside. Pulls into the lead. And he's a whole car length in front before the braking zone. What a absolute rocket of a car in a straight line. Gets turned in through Redifio. And he's a whole car length in front. Puts 6 tenths on Black Project on the exit. And these guys, after Snake Eyes has served that penalty, are 4.5 seconds to the good. Snake Eyes can get his, Carbon Boy can get his head down now and absolutely put the pedal to the floor and take off and bridge a gap, build a gap over Black Project here.
Yeah, there's a little bit of gamesmanship between these two. Carbon Boy gave Black Project a gentle nudge along the road to pick up the speed, but then Black Project short shifted into 6 going down the main straight. That gave Carbon Boy that leg around. So, yeah, interesting strategy between the two of them. I think it's race on for sure.
I mean, they both would be conscious of Snake Eyes down behind, but they've got a little bit of breathing room, or quite a lot of breathing room now. 4 seconds that they can use, keep in the back of their mind, and just sort of alter their strategy accordingly. Back down to Stranger and VF. It was half a second a lap ago, and now VF has lost that position even more, lost touch even more. That's almost opening up to 2 seconds, 1.8 it is at the moment.
Yeah, lap 33, VF had a 152 flat versus Stranger 48, so that's something VF had a moment.
Yeah. Renegade, way off the back of the field at the moment after those issues early on in the race. I mean, sooner or later he's going to have blue flags as we've just passed the halfway mark of this race.
Yeah, well, Sausage is running into first Lesmo, and Renegade's going into Ascari.
Yeah, so he's got that straight gap. Depending on, well, what lap time is Renegade setting? He's setting 48, so
48,
he's not,
yeah, very solid 48s. Yeah.
So he's not far off the pace, so barring no more issues in this race, he could even avoid the blue flag, just depending on the pace of Sizzling Sausage.
Yeah, so his car's turning in quite nicely through Ascari there, through Parabolica, where definitely early in the race when I went on board, it was struggling big time.
And Freelix in the other Hoonborg car was struggling as well. So maybe a shared tune between those guys where this really struggles through Parabolica.
Yeah, Wartime's picked up half-second penalty.
That's going to drop him back into the clutches of Revs here. We could see a battle of a P8 between these guys, which Revs has done an absolute madman drive here, and he's closed up that gap from 4 seconds to just under 1, and could even be looking at the position after this penalty is served. They fly through Ascari.
Definitely be seeing the red mist when you got that penalty sign in front of you.
Penalty served.
Yeah, definitely got it.
What's it going to be? It's going to be tight, very, very tight. Revs pulls to the inside into Parabolica. Oh, sweeps around the outside though. Wartime, that's great defense, but he's going to run wide. That's going to open it up. Revs is going to get it done.
Drive out of there, tight line.
Now it's a drag race. Whichever car's more gutsy in a straight line. Oh, Revs. Gets a whole car length in front into the braking zone of Renifio. Oh, Wartime! Oh, that was a huge moment in the dirty air of the privateer car in front. But now what that means is Revs can set his sights for Freelix 8-9 seconds down the road. I mean, considering where Revs...
Another half-second penalty.
Oh dear.
This will really hurt him.
And he's dropped 5 seconds off the back of Black Project, so...
Yeah, close to 6 after he serves this.
Yep. Carbon Boy's managed to escape slipstream range of Black Project now. Dare I say that closes back up into Ascari? It does. Maybe with a good exit, he might be able to open that up once again. Yes, he does. Quite crucially, beyond that 1 second mark.
And Sausages, he's out to 7 seconds at the moment. Budsy's 11.5 ahead of Big J. So, yeah, the difference is Sausage is staying in the 48s at the moment. Budsy's just slipped into the 49 range. Big J, his lap times, 47, 47, 47, a couple of flat 48s, and his worst has been a 48.5 in this stint. So, doing a great job managing that position.
Yeah, I mean, Big J, we're getting close to the end of this stint. I believe he should have 2 more laps, because he did the 14 lap on the last stint. And looking at the lap times, I mean, this is just brilliant pace from Big J. He's yet to drop into the 49s. And with 2 laps to go in this stint, I mean, this is just brilliant pace. We've seen the 2 in front both dropping into the... Oh no, Sizzling Sausage yet to drop into the 49s. But yeah, Budsy dropping in there. So Big J managing that gap to Sizzling Sausage at about 18 seconds. So brilliant stuff from these guys.
Budsy's had a little bit of moment at Ascari. It's going to cost him half second at least.
Into the bridge, into Parabolica now. And will be interesting to see who pits lap 39, who pits lap 40. If they're sticking to 13 laps, should be in this lap. We'll see quite a few in this lap, I feel.
Yeah, Budsy's just hit the fuel light. Big J and Sausage might just hit it by the end of this lap, which will give them a lap left if they choose to go long.
Big J with some brilliant pace on the last lap of 48.5. This is brilliant pace from Big J. If only he was up there with the front guys. Like, this is race-winning pace that he's setting late on in this stint. Carbon Boy and Black Project still jostling over that slipstream. 1.1 for now. It looks like Carbon Boy has opened that up just enough that he's able to get away with it. And Snake Eyes. 7 seconds just about. So he's fully lost touch with these guys in this stint. This has not been a good stint from Snake Eyes. From right there, well, he's still in the same position, hasn't lost any positions, but just that lap time, I mean, disastrous stint for the privateer number 10 car.
Yep, so to run purely on time, this pit stop needs to be at the 1 minute 12 mark of the race. It's 1 minute 11:10, so Sausage going into the pits. So yeah, he will need to bite the bullet on that extra lap at some point.
Budsy is biting that bullet right now and does take the lead of the race. And Big J will be in next lap.
He's back into the 48s and he's running a really light fuel load for this lap, so it'd be interesting to see if he can get a bit of an advantage here. Which
you said he was on the fuel light at the start of last lap, so sticking to that 5% per lap, that's cutting it very fine. That's running it to a number. I imagine he'll be in with 1% of the tank. Even running on vapors. Yeah.
Sausage went to, I think, 78, 79 it might have just touched on when he filled.
So maybe the 14th lap coming in this stint, perhaps. I mean, I see the reason why these guys have waited so long. Because the start of the race, it's early morning start. Temperatures are very high, track temps very high. But now, a bit cooler now. The sun's starting to set. And it's not going to get any darker. So leaving it for this stint, or even the last stint, perhaps next stint, it really just allows you to, it makes that 14th lap that little bit easier, just in the cooler temperatures. So
yeah, and Rebs has also gone for the extra lap.
He took his back in stint number 2.
Sorry,
at the
that's
same
right.
time
So
as
this will be
Carbon
13.
Boy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the only ones who are yet to do it, their 14th, is Sizzling Sausage. Everyone else is elected to take their 14th lap. So it would either be this lap or the final stint for Sizzling Sausage, but he's over fuel, so I would imagine it would be this stint.
Yeah, he's sitting right on 3/4.
Once he's in, and 1%, what did we say? In on vapors. Big J next. 2%, not much better. And Sizzling Sausage will inherit the lead once again. Yeah, we've got Carbon Boy peels into the pits. Felix next to...
So Budsy stopped at 72. They're definitely taking on less fuel now than Sausage at the front.
Yeah.
Big J 69, which I think was similar to Black Project.
Yeah, that's quite fitting.
Carbon should have an advantage here.
How much does he put in?
75, so he's keeping a bit up his sleeve.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 stints he put 81 in, and he came in with about 15-16% of the tank, so maybe he knows that maybe he's overfueling, so he thinks he can get away with 5% less, and I honestly think he can if he's putting 80 in and coming in with 15% in the tank still, so might as well just put a little bit less in.
And if push comes to shove, it's a good advantage to have going into the last pit stop. So he's 1 second ahead of Black Project.
Yeah, so Black Project elected to take his 14th lap stint on that last lap, I believe. Wait, hang on a minute. VF hasn't pit, has it? No. So that's not for track position. So
no, he'll be in. He'll be in. Snake Eyes has pitted. Felix has pitted. Revs has pitted. Wartime and the Stranger, and Renegade's in the pits now.
So this is an interesting strategy from VF, perhaps suboptimal, doing 14 laps or 15 laps somewhere. Or is he doing the 3-stop? Could he be doing the 3-stop?
No, I think he's the 4 because his times have been in line with the Stranger, who's done 4. Like he's been close. They're being close in track position to a few seconds in every stint.
Yeah.
But Felix is now 4 seconds behind Snake Eyes. I'm pretty sure that gap was previously around 7.
And there we go. VF pulls into the pits. Snake Eyes inherits P6 once again, and he's lost even more time back to Black Project. 8.3 seconds. So that last stint from Snake Eyes was not what he wanted. It's really ruined his race here for P4, but P6, nothing to blink at whatsoever. That's a great drive so far, if you can hold on to it.
More times 5/10 behind Revs at the moment. Looking very racing.
Yeah. So Revs manages to make up that position once again. Did Wartime get him in the stop? Oh no, they've just come out of the pits.
Time up.
Yeah. Because I believe that Revs overtook Wartime, breached a bit of a gap, and now he's fallen back into the clutches a little bit more. So, job's not done for Revs yet. He's got to get ahead. He's got to keep ahead of Wartime and defend his position potentially over the Brocchio 5 car. Just under 45 minutes remaining in this race. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's just a normal race distance. So all of these guys have pits, so it's essentially a sprint race till the end. 2 stints left to go for most of these guys, I do believe. And they should be scheduled in on lap 43 for most of these guys. Wait, no, 53.
52. 52? Half 52, half 53, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because most of these guys have elected to take the 14 laps so far. I believe the only one who hasn't is Sizzling Sausage.
Yeah, Sausage, yeah.
So most of these guys 53, and then Sausage 52 or 53. Just depends when he wants to take that 14th lap. I mean, he could still be trying to delay this as long as possible to make sure the track temps are absolutely ideal for saving tyres. But Time Days has seemed to be stuck here for about the last half hour, so I don't think they're going to get any cooler per se. So yeah, well, it's up to him. He's got a lot to play with. 7 seconds, so
yeah. If he can hold this advantage in the last stint, even if in the last few laps he has to back off a bit to preserve the car, 7 seconds is a lot. And Carbon Boy's out to 1.8 on Black Project now, so...
And he's making inroads on Big J.
Yeah.
Big J, that gap was 15 seconds before the stop, and it was down to 13, and just for a second there, down to 12.5. But of course, Carbon Boy, weak point of his tune is that Ascari, and that gap went up just a couple of tenths. But interesting to see. I mean, I think he's a bit far out of it. I don't think the podium's on the cards, but certainly...
Yeah, he picked up a couple of seconds in the pit stop, with his Carbon Boy did, with his fuel. And he will have a similar advantage going into the last pit stop too, if things pan out the way they are.
Yeah. And he's done well to bridge a gap to Black Project, 2 seconds currently, making great use of the lighter fuel load than what he put in the car the last few stints. Just 6%, 6 litres, it's enough to make an impact.
And that said, Big Joe straight down into the 47s and purple in the first sector. Doing a great job.
Yeah. Wartime hasn't let go of revs at the moment either. I mean, still hanging on to that 8 tenths sort of gap. This battle is far from over. I mean, one small mistake, one penalty from revs will see Wartime back into the thick of things here.
Yeah, and like we said before, he's a recent, he's ridden the promotion with the split divisions up into Div 3, I believe. So with that, he's currently 8 tenths, 3/4 in the race, 8 tenths behind the previous Div 4 champion.
Yeah. Which Rebs, having won Div 4 title back in Season 7, he had a bit of a slow start to Season 8 in the NSX in this Division 3 field. He was always there or thereabouts that midfield, and then got his first win out at, I think he won at St. Croix, and then took his second win at Kyoto. So absolutely charging in the latter half of the season there was Revs, and then this season came out of the gates kicking. He took P1 with his team at the time, REM, who've since liquidated, and took P2 at Brands Hatch. Was doing alright. I think he won as well at Road Atlanta. Had an absolutely shocking race at Bathurst. We're here now at Monza, round 5, sitting P8, respectable P8, nice mid-pack. I mean, got quite a buffer back to the next in the championship, which will be Sizzling Sausage. So, I mean, I was sort of putting the line at P8. I think if Revs can get past Frelix before the end, I think he'll be looking at holding the championship lead. I mean, double points just makes things a bit hard, especially with Sizzling Sausage right there. I'll just have a look at the points, you know. Get the numbers for sure.
The next 2 tracks make it really interesting too, because we get into where there could quite possibly be wet weather. It shows a whole different dynamic on the mix.
So the gap between Sizzling Sausage and Revs at the moment is 17. So the way it is currently, I've got my key up here, 60 points for a win, a point for fastest lap for Sizzling Sausage, that's 61 points. Revs down in P8, 36, so wow, that's, yeah, he's definitely going to lose the championship lead if it stays as is. He's going to be well behind as well, that's going to be like 17, like 16 points, 15 points or so. Which Sizzling Sausage will be quite lucky here, as Excel missing the race, he's going to fall quite a way down the order, unfortunately, but it's going to be Sizzling Sausage who's going to inherit the championship lead after round 5, after the Enduro round is done for Category 2. Yeah, things are a little bit quiet at the moment. Much happening out on track.
Just looking down, Carbon's graphed it out. He's now at 2.1 seconds, so he's controlling that position. Snake Eyes has just fallen off the back a little bit more. He's 6 seconds behind. Interestingly, Felix is sort of closing that gap, and I think by the end of this stint, what is there, 5 laps, 7 laps thereabouts, he's only 3.8 behind Snake Eyes, and once you get to see that car in front, anything can happen, so he may be able to pull that time back gradually. Interestingly, his last lap was the personal best for the race, so when he got in line of sight, he's dropped to 47.9 to Snake Eyes 48.3, so
very interesting how it's playing out. I mean, it seems the fastest out of P5, 6 and 7 is Felix at the moment, because Black Project has lost quite a bit of time to Snake Eyes. That gap was 8 seconds, now it's down to 5.7. And then similarly, Snake Eyes is losing time to Felix. I believe that gap was 5 seconds at the start of the stint, which is just weird how it works out a bit like that. And then Revs still under pressure from Wartime. This is the closest battle on track at the moment. 2/10 the gap between them. Into Renifio now.
The best in the last 3 laps between P4 and P6 is definitely Snake Eyes by probably an average of half a second a lap.
Yeah.
And then you've got Felix now, you know, on a mission behind. So that Carbon Boy and Black Project, they're sort of, Carbon Boy's growing the gap, but they're both dropping off in respect to Snake Eyes. So still a long way to go.
Yep. Looking down to the Stranger at the moment, he's got 4.6 over VF. Turn has 29 seconds over Renegade. And Renegade, blue flags, the leader coming up behind. As we were discussing last week, the blue flags do come out very, very early, far before when you actually need to give way. Especially if you're coming up on a driver who may be lapping the same pace or marginally quicker. That blue flags indicator can be on for a very long time. But I think at this point of the race, most guys just want to get it over and done with, out of the way.
Yeah, Wartime was looking at a move on Revs through Parabolica and just started to oversteer a little bit, and he dropped 6/10, so he was down to 0.1 of a second on the turn-in.
Still within slipstream range though, so it's not over yet. Oh, big moment from Revs there, but Wartime able to capitalise, not as much as he probably would have liked. That gap was 8/10, drops back down to 6. So So this battle far from over between Wartime and Revs as we approach the 3/4 mark of this 2-hour enduro.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's unfortunate we can't see track temps or just with the time progression of the race, but definitely as you watch these cars through Ascari, through Parabolica, they're taking multiple bites at the corner on turn-in, which for their tyre stage, I wouldn't have thought that would be showing at this point.
Yeah. I think as well, just that fatigue. I mean, we're approaching 90 minutes non-stop, so, well, with stops, but, you know, not much of a break in between the stints, so I think that fatigue is really going to start to set in for most of these guys. And when you come into Parabolica and you're sort of expecting the car to grip up, or even when it does grip up and you're just sort of anticipating the rear to slide out, and when it does, whether you are expecting or not expecting it, like, it can just catch you off guard a bit. And like, you ever seen that video of that I think it's a dog standing on a stool and the stool starts to shake violently? It's like sort of that kind of overreaction from some of these guys, I guess, and maybe too much of an overcorrection here or there, and it just leads to a compound effect, and rear end steps out, try to save it, overcorrection steps out the other way, and before you know it, you're fishtailing through the corner. It's never really ideal.
Yeah, and I think we should put Carbon Boy's aero tune on Marketplace, because he's running 7 kilometres an hour quicker than the position 1 and 2 down the straight.
Yeah.
And he's not that slower much slower in the corners. So.
Which, quite interesting, is Ascari, he's definitely slower. He loses a bucket load of time to everyone else through Ascari, but he's quicker than everyone else pretty much everywhere else on the track. Which I find strange, because in the Div 1 race, and we even saw it in the Div 2 race, those guys who were quick through Ascari were also quick through the Lesmos, but we're seeing Carbon Boy is very quick through the Lesmos, slow through Ascari, and we know he's not running a lot of downforce. So
and his time through the Parabolica, his speed through the Parabolica was identical to BJ in front.
Yeah. But it just makes you think, is there an issue with some of these guys' tunes where they're not really getting enough aero efficiency through the Lesmos as they would have liked? Maybe their cars are a bit softer, there's a bit more body roll through that car, they're not using their tyres as much as they probably should be through there. I mean, potentially just leaving a little bit on the table where I guess Carbon Boy, he's probably got his car set up with a lot of mechanical grip. Should drive the car slightly differently. I mean, the only real corners that are high speed is Parabolica and Ascari. So, but it seems that the lower downforce setup through Parabolica, Carbon Boy is able to just get the car turned in, get it straightened up as soon as possible, and use the low downforce to his advantage. But you can't really do that through Ascari because it sort of turns back on itself. I mean, just these little things to think about that you can change with a car to sort of the way it acts. But so far in this race,
Sausage hit 132 kilometres an hour on entry. Bugsy was 134 kilometres an hour on entry. 132 for Big J, and Carbon's coming up to it now. So I think he was 135 last lap.
The thing is as well that quite often when making a tune, guys will be chasing a lap time. Especially over one lap, they'll, like for qualifying, they'll set up a car and they go, look, I can go half a second quicker in qualifying over one lap if I add a bit more downforce, a medium, maybe high downforce setup. But then they kind of neglect the low downforce setup. I mean, when you're constantly racing guys doing test starts with other guys who have medium downforce, high downforce setups, you're sort of getting your head and you go, well, I'm not really losing too much time in a straight line, and the issue sort of compounds where Then you get to the low downforce setups, and you get to the race, and yeah, the low downforce setup might be half a second slower over one lap, but if you're running low high downforce, you can't overtake. We saw it with Snake Eyes, like through the corners he was much quicker than Carbon Boy, but as soon as they got in a straight line, the difference in downforce was so drastic that even with the slipstream, Snake Eyes was unable to close up on Carbon Boy.
Unable to punch out. And also too, these guys are running a tailwind from Lesmos to all the way through to the Parabolica, so I'm pretty sure in the last couple of rounds the wind is probably about half strength to where it's been, and hasn't really changed direction that much.
We saw in the Div 2 race, the wind started at this direction, but then it ended up flipping about 270 degrees to point to the right there.
It was quite tricky, you could feel it, especially as the tyres wore and the wind changed.
Yeah, and we saw some brilliant lap times. We saw GTR almost getting into the 45s, so just interesting to see how the wind has quite an impact on the lap times. But luckily for these Div 3 guys, they don't have to deal with that so far this race. It's pretty much stuck to that sort of tailwind down into Parabolica, which they'll be quite grateful for.
But excellent concentration from these guys. You know, Sizzling Sausage, he's been running 47s just into the low 48s. Excuse me guys, Budsy very, very similar. If anything, he's picked up a second and a half. His times have just been a little bit more consistent, by 2 tenths, 3 tenths.
Yeah.
Also too, I think Sausage is coming up behind Renegade.
No, he's already overtaken.
So it'd be VF.
VF is coming through Parabolica and they're at Ascari now, so...
Yeah, I just saw the car in the distance.
Yeah.
Big J, he's mid 48s, probably for the last 5 or 6 laps, but again, he's doing it very consistently to manage his position. And Carbon Boy has just dropped into the 49s his last 2 laps.
So Sizzling Sausage, he's gone around again. Yeah.
Yep. This is his 14th lap then.
So that means everyone should be in next lap.
Budsy's followed.
Yeah, Budsy did his 14 lap last stint, so...
Ah, that's right, yeah, so this will leave him up.
Blue flags now for Renegade as Budsy approaches the back marker. Oh, hang on a minute. Something has happened to Carbon Boy, and that gap to Black Project has closed up to 6 tenths. It was 2.5.
Yeah, 151 for this lap.
Massive moment somewhere for the APR Motorsport driver, as Felix is in, so he's yet to take his 14 lap stint, I think. So he'll be doing a 14 lapper to conclude the 2 hours. Yeah, Black Project... Oh, wait, hang on. Snake Eyes has made inroads as well, so he's 3.8 seconds behind. So, something has happened for these guys where Black Project... Oh, maybe... No, I think Black Project has just lost it gradually.
Yeah, it was just... Yeah, it was Carbon Boy who was out 2.5 seconds on that previous lap.
And I think Snake Eyes has been driving like a madman and closed up that gap.
Yeah,
I don't think
he's on the fuel light now. He's definitely coming in this lap.
Yeah.
And I think Black Project... I think Black Project will come in as well. Carvin's got enough for another 2 laps.
Big J should be in.
So my guess, Sausage will go 76. And Budsy 73.
Let's see how close you are. Sausage 74. And Budsy 70.
60 something. Was it 70? Yeah.
Carbon Boy peels in, Black Project in, Snake Eyes in.
Budsy's got 13 laps to do 4.7 seconds. And
Snake
put pressure
Eyes.
on Sausage.
Yeah, Snake Eyes in on the smell of an oily rag. Revs in. Felix just
This
pit.
is where Carbon's fuel advantage comes in, 66. Oh, Black Project's matching it.
But what that underfield does mean is that Carbon Boy has put 2 and a bit seconds on Black Project, who was within slipstream range as they came into the pits.
Snake Eyes went close to the line there.
Which Snake Eyes, hang on a minute. Things are getting spicy here as Felix has clawed his way back into this one and is now a second astray of Snake Eyes. But of course, Felix does have to do a 14-lap stint here as he pit on the previous lap.
That was the undercut. Felix has used the undercut, so it has worked. And I'm just looking, Black Project and Carbon are identical on fuel.
This is going to be a spicy grandstand finish here in Division 3. 20 minutes remaining, 12 laps. Black Project running a little bit wide through Lesmo 2 over the AstroTurf. So Felix has snatched slipstream range from Snake Eyes. And if he can get track position before Snake Eyes gets his tyres properly warmed up, this will change the entire story of the race.
Times all over the back of Revs. Oh, a little bit loose through a scurry, so he's just burned a few tenths.
So Revs and Wartime, after Revs made that move, these guys have been stuck together with sticky tape. I don't think we've seen that gap over about 6 tenths. Into Parabolica now. Can Wartime get a move done eventually? Can he find somewhere on the circuit to get past? Redifio looks good for him. 3 tenths. Well, he might not be close enough. Let's see what it is. 2.5, 2 tenths. He's got the straight line speed. 1 tenth. Look at this. Wartime tries the outside. It's not going to matter if Revs goes defensive. Oh, late on the brakes for Revs. Looks for the switchback. Oh, manages to hold his position. So Revs ran deep. Wartime looked for the switchback, but the switchback's not going to work there as the inside becomes the outside.
And while that's going on, Felix is all over the back of Snake Eyes. Well and truly within slipstream range, going into Lesmos 1.
Absolutely.
Sorry, 2.
One of the Lesmos.
How can they have the same corner name twice? Seriously.
Yeah.
7.5 tenths. Closes up under brakes, big time.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see Wartime and Revs, 2.5 tenths. Revs goes defensive. He's not going to get it done into a scurry here, Wartime. Under brakes, into a scurry, gets it turned in.
Spun.
Oh no!
That would have been on it. Oh.
Yellow flags.
Yep.
So Wartime's not going to be able to get that move done until the green flags fly. There they go. So he's 3 tenths this time around again. If he gets a good exit out of Parabolica, he could be looking at a move on Revs this lap. He's closer than he was last lap. 3 tenths is the gap. It was 4 tenths last lap, but not the best exit from Wartime. He would have wanted a bit more on exit, but here it goes. The gap falls down. 2 tenths. 1.5. Defensive from Revs. Wartime's going to take that inside line anyway. He says, you haven't gone defensive enough. And Wartime, late on the brakes from Revs. He goes fully deep. Way off the track.
That's definitely going to cost a few seconds there. And Stranger's picked up P10 through BF spinning and going into the pits for his last stop.
Wowee. So Wartime re-inherits 8th place over Revsu, just outbreaks himself. He isn't pushing the pedal hard enough into Redifio. Now we look back up to Snake Eyes and Felix. That gap remains the same from last time we checked on him. 15 minutes left to go in this one. 10 laps on the agenda.
Yeah, 1 lap different in the tyres to Snake Eyes' advantage.
As Rainbow Sox has said in chat, this race isn't about being the fastest, it's about being the most consistent. Absolutely right. Being able to set a quick lap is good and all, but being able to set a quick lap over and over and over, penalty free, is the person who can do that will be the winner at the end of the day. Simple as that. Felix.
Felix personal best. Yep.
Absolutely.
47.8.
Absolutely flying in the late stages of this race. Staring at a P6 finish.
And bringing them both a little bit closer to Black Project, down to 3.5 seconds. It was circa 5 from memory.
Yeah, and Carbon Boys bridged a gap to Black Project as well, 3.4 seconds. So things aren't over here, but Felix closer than he has been the entire race long. Does he get enough beans in a straight line? No, he doesn't. Backs out of it. 2/10 purple as well. Through De La Roggia.
There's good lines through the SSC, the chicane. Felix.
Into Lesmo 1. That gap stagnating at about 3/10 between these two. Into Lesmo 2 now. He's going to have the slipstream all the way down towards Ascari.
Plenty of work for windscreens O'Brien there. There's gravel flying everywhere.
Absolutely. Not the best run out of Lesmo 2 for Felix. That gap opens up to half a second, but he's still up on his lap time. Through Ascari now. Gap opens to 6/10. 5.5 now. He's got the slipstream. Gap closing up into Parabolica now. Just under half a second. On the brakes. Whoa. Shows the nose there, Felix. Takes a bit of an early apex through Parabolica. He's going to be on the power now. Has that slipstream all the way down into Redifio. And he's going to set a personal quickest lap again. A 47.6, lighting up the lap times at the moment here, Felix. A man on a mission.
Yeah,
looking for this P6.
Responded. He was a 47.7, so he's definitely responding. He's up for the fight.
And these two edging closer and closer to Black Project in P5. Could P5 be on for Felix and Snake Eyes? Felix out of Redifio through Curva Grande. He's going to look to the outside, inside. Shows the nose again. He's 2.5/10 purple once again. Through De La Roggia. This is a copy and paste of last lap. Through Lesmo 1. Loses a touch of time. That gap around half a second still. Into Lesmo 2. Can he get a better exit this time? No, not quite. He's losing so much time through Lesmo 2. That gap, a 10th longer than it was last lap. Into Ascari.
He'll be in the 47s again. I'm pretty sure too with Felix, this is a pretty good showing because I think he's had some new hardware for the car in recent months, so adapting to that is not always easy.
Potentially, yeah. 7/10, 8/10 the gap. Oh, Felix just losing touch a little bit. 12 minutes remaining in this race.
Something's gone on in the back. Ribs is 9.7 seconds ahead of Wartime that we've missed. So,
oh no!
And he's fallen into the clutches of the stranger. Well, could be. He's only 3.3 ahead. Because something's gone on there.
For Wartime, it looks like a multitude of things on the last few laps. Let's have a look.
No, 150.6, yeah.
What lap time is going to be this time round? It's happened on this lap. Let's have a look at this. 158, and now he's within the clutch. A 2-minute lap time. Jesus.
Yeah. And when you look at the track map, we have cars pretty much on every part of the track. It is so hard to keep it on top of.
Oh, Carbon Boy, he's been a bit naughty. He's picked up a half-second penalty somewhere, but luckily he has a buffer. 3 seconds back to Black Project. Snake Eyes and Felix, 3/10 through the second Lesmo. So Felix closer than he has been through the Lesmos all race. A 10th closer than he was 2 laps ago, coming into Ascari. Under brakes.
This for Black Project could just be enough to bring him in for the final few laps. He's really looked after this car, and he's even got a bit more fuel than Carbon Boy up his sleeves. So he'll be down to under 2.5 seconds. 2.1.
This is very, very close between Felix and Snake Eyes. We could see a move into Redifio. It's closer than it has been. This is a brilliant exit from Felix on the power now. 3/10. Oh, that gap not coming down as much as he would have liked. 2/10. Can he get it done? 1.5. Does he pull to the inside? Yes, he does.
He's going to go.
150 meter board, stamps on the brake pedal, very deep under brakes. Snake Eyes tries to sweep around the outside, but the room just wasn't there. And Felix gets himself up into 6th place and can start the charge for Black Project with 6 laps remaining in this one.
And those brake discs of Felix, they look like they were on fire.
Yeah.
They were glowing.
I don't think he can press the brake pedal any harder if he tried. Do not scratch your eyes, don't go to the toilet, don't go anywhere, as things are just starting to heat up. We have 4 cars on track in just the space of about 5 seconds, with 6 laps remaining. We have some very quick operators looking to make an impact in this one.
Oh, Black Project, he saved it, but he had a big slide out of Lesmos 2, so that sort of destroyed. He was down to 2 seconds.
And he's lost a massive bunch of time to Felix behind. Black Project has to be very careful, or he could be in danger of losing this 5th place to the Hooncorp car behind. And that Hooncorp car is tagging along a privateer in Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes not giving up this chase just yet. Snake Eyes still very, very close. 4.5 tenths away from Felix. Felix can't be all eyes forward just yet. He's got to keep looking back. Keep notice to his mirrors, because Snake Eyes is holding his position just for now. 3.5 tenths. Could we see a return to sender on lap 61? 2.5. He's going to try around the outside. Into Redifio. No. Covers it off well there. Does Felix.
High beams on.
Yeah. Snake Eyes looking very racy. Felix just looks like he's struggling a little bit without that slipstream from the car ahead. And Black Project able to whisk away into the distance a little bit. Edges that gap up to 3 seconds once again. And Carbon Boy back down to 2 seconds. Has Carbon Boy hit the button a bit too early and compromised himself in the late stages of this race? He's had the better car the entire race long, and now in the final hurdle, has he given up the advantage and put the strategy into the hands of Black Project, who's really starting to close up now. 1.7 seconds. These guys, the fatigue is really going to start to set in. They cannot wait for that black and white flag, the checkered flag.
Carbon Boy's got a little bit more fuel, so now's the time to use it. But yeah, Black Project, he's super quick over an entire race. Just it'll be. I think he can close this up a bit.
1.6 seconds. Could panic be setting into the APR Motorsports cockpit there for Carbon Boy? As we see this battle still raging between Snake Eyes and Felix. Snake Eyes looking to the inside, outside, inside. It's not opening up. 3/10 the gap still as they enter Redefio for the 62nd time. Just 6 minutes remaining on the clock. Not long left to go at all. As we look back down, Wartime and Stranger still going at it. Oh, as Stranger makes a mistake and he's picked up a penalty, so as quickly as we change to that battle has immediately gone out the window for those two. But back up here.
I'd say there's a... Just looking at the timing, there's one lap that you can't see. It's a bit funny on the timing screen there, but yeah, because Wartime, Stranger actually passed Wartime when Wartime went in the pits.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that was Via. No, sorry, got that wrong. The penalty will certainly hurt.
Felix and Snake Eyes still going at it. Into Ascari, the gap 2/10. This is going to be a grandstand finish between two Division 3 heavyweights. Defensive from Felix. Snake Eyes, he's going to have to go the long way round through Parabolica, deep on the brakes. Can he sweep around the outside? No. He's going to look for the switchback though. Doesn't open up for him. Keeps his foot in the throttle. 1.5 tenths. This is the closest he's been since he's lost the position 3 laps ago. Pulls to the inside. Can he outmuscle Felix using that slipstream? It's going to be tight. Felix is going to have to brake late and hold that position from the outside. For Snake Eyes, can he get it done? He does. Slides his way back up into 6th place. These guys throwing everything and the kitchen sink at this battle. They haven't raced from hour 55 to falter at the final hurdle here for 6th place. Can Felix come back at him? Not into Della Rosia. Absolutely incredible racing in the late stages of this race. Quick check in with Black Project and Carbon Boy. That gap still maintaining itself at about 2.1 seconds. 2/10 now. Needs a good exit here, Felix. He does get a good exit. That's what he needed. Can he get the move done into Ascari? Down the hill now. Looks to the outside. Doesn't open up for him. Has to back off. Give a little bit of room through Ascari, but that gap opens right back up. 6/10 now, a little bit wide from Snake Eyes. Doesn't get a good exit. Can it open up for him? Snake Eyes pulls to the outside. Felix gonna dive down the inside. Repeat of last lap, but positions reversed. Felix is gonna get it done. Deja vu. Absolutely.
Bit of a slide by Snake Eyes. He's lost the advantage there.
4/10 now the gap. Really defensive from Felix. As it's a battle against the clock between these two. Snake Eyes has the better car. He's only got to do 13 laps this stint. Felix has to go the extra mile. Through Redefio, that gap opens up for the first time in quite a while. Felix has breathing room. That gap has opened up massively. A horrendous exit from Snake Eyes. 1.1 seconds now. Down into Della Rosia. All that battling, that means that Black Project can get his head down and he has to worry about Snake Eyes. He doesn't have to keep his mind behind. 6 seconds the gap behind. These guys have lost 3.5 seconds battling. But Carbon Boy, that checkered flag cannot come soon enough for him. Just 2 laps remaining. 1.8 seconds. He's been driving like an absolute madman. It's been written on the wall since this stint number 1. Can he hold his position? He needs to hold his position over Black Project here. 1.6 seconds. It's getting tight now. Can Black Project pull something out of the hat and chase down Carbon Boy in the dying moments of this race? Riding on board with Black Project into Parabolica for the third final time. Looking back to Snake Eyes and Freelix, that gap still on 6/10. 2 laps to go, 2 to go. Actually, it's going to be tight for Snake Eyes and Freelix. They might finish on this lap. There's only 1:30 remaining on the clock. This might be it for them. This could be the white flag for Snake Eyes and Freelix. Through Redafio now. That means that Snake Eyes has limited opportunity to get back by Freelix in the dying embers of this race. Into De La Rocha. Freelix manning. Oh! He's run into the side of him! It's all gone wrong! Into De La Rocha! And Snake Eyes! Oh, he redresses the position. Luckily, they have a massive gap back to Revs. But that's put the nail in the coffin. And they're certainly going to finish on this lap now. That was a huge accident. And now Freelix has gone off. Again, with those dirty hot tyres. And Snake Eyes doesn't overtake there. He just lets him keep going. That's smart stuff from Snake Eyes. It's all gone wrong on the final lap for these guys. After 2 hours mistake-free. It all culminated and compounded into one massive incident.
So P1 to P3 have gone through for lap 66. And I think we'll see Carbon Boy go through as well. Carbon Boy has, and so has Black Project.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
So I think
all
after
very low on fuel.
I think after that incident, Snake Eyes just wants to sit in behind and lets Freelix take P6. What a drive from these two. A grandstand finish as Freelix will come home to take P6. Snake Eyes there in P7. We have Revs coming home in P8. Revs crosses the finish line. It then will be Stranger. He's done well to get to the end there. Sizzling Sausage.
Coming up to the start through the Parabolica.
What a drive. Extremely dominant. Sets a tone. The new championship leader will cross the line. P1 and the fastest lap. Budsy. Brilliant stuff. I mean, in P2 there. Big J. A little bit behind there. He's going to round the final corner now. Parabolica for the final time. And he's going to take P3. He's going to complete the podium. It must be said, a boring race for Big J. Lonely race. But he's going to come home. Well-deserved podium for Symmetry Motorsports. Brilliant stuff. And it's going to be Carbon Boy who's going to get the better of Black Project on this final lap. He held his own. He wasn't the quickest out there today, but he did everything he needed to do. Kept his head down.
Smallest amount of fuel left. Timed it to perfection.
Oh, P4 for Carbon Boy, P5 for Black Project, and that's all she rode in tonight's race. Wowee, what a race. That was absolutely magnificent. So make sure to place your driver of the day down below. What a race we just watched. I mean, it got a bit spread out towards the middle part, but I mean, always some racing action out on track there tonight. As we'll just have a look at the race results for that one. This is how they finish. Sizzling Sausage takes P1 and the Next Level Racing fastest lap of a 1:47.1. Budsy takes P2 with 4.5 seconds astray of the leader there. Very, very close to the fastest lap too, just a couple of hundredths away. Big J there in third place, completing the podium. Brilliant drive for him. Carbon Boy in P4, just played the strategy to perfection and came away out of that battle pack in P4. Black Project there in 5th, the last on the lead lap. Felix there in 6th, 1 lap down, with Snake Eyes just behind them, having an absolute bingle on that final lap, but they've sorted themselves out, and great sportsmanship from Snake Eyes to let Felix head on with P6. Revs in P8 there. We have Stranger in 9th, Wartime in 10th, VF 11th, and Renegade there in 12th. So, who do you give your drive of the day to, Gur?
Look, it's between a few. I don't normally give it to first place, but I've got to say with Sizzling Sausage, that's the best race I've seen him drive since he's come to Sector 1. Very consistent lap times, but not only consistent, super quick. I think after every pit stop, he probably rattled off 6:47s in a row just to sort of build that gap, and also got the fastest lap of the race. Big J for his race management to manage that third spot. But I thought Carbon Boy's drive as well, that was, I reckon he was under the most pressure of any driver in that race, from the competition at different times. And he managed that well, manages his car very well, and just his pit strategy. So for me, Carbon.
That's a very good call. We have a couple coming into the chat now. We have Drive the Day Carbon Boy, Drive the Day Carbon Boy. Everyone is Drive the Day for Rainbow Socks. That's a very good call as well. Budsy Drive the Day. Yeah, I mean, he is my teammate, but I must say, brilliant drive from Carbon Boy. He gets my Drive of the Day as well. He probably had the hardest run out of everyone, constantly having drivers there or thereabouts behind him. So having to deal with that,
which is pretty tricky, yeah.
Having to deal with that for almost 2 hours straight. I mean, and then coming out on top. Brilliant drive from him. Special props to Black Project as well. He drove brilliantly. He was sitting P6 for quite a while and up into P4, but eventually had to settle for P5. So brilliant stuff for him. Gets my honourable mention.
Kudos to Renegade as well. He had some serious tech issues there, but when it counted, his lap times were well and truly doing what the balance of the field was doing. So it would have been interesting to see if he had a clean run, how he would have gone as the race panned out.
Yeah, that's for sure. So thanks everybody for coming out tonight to support the stream. We had pretty decent numbers. I mean, not as much as Category 1 streams, but enough that it was worthwhile. And I hope the racing action was good enough to keep you all coming back. A few more Drive of the Day nominations coming in. Drive of the Day Big J from Bangkok Life Partners. Budsy Drive of the Day. Felix says, I need a new bumper and some fenders. Yes, I think you do. I think the Hooncorp guys, Nismo Nath from Hooncorp, might be sending a damage invoice across to the privateer team. So,
I hope he's carrying insurance.
Yeah. I mean, cutting costs with the privateer team, maybe not. But we'll have to wait and see. But we'll get the points updated and sent out, but I think we did the calculations about the halfway mark, and I think Sizzling Sausage will have inherited the championship lead, so he will be absolutely buzzing. First time leading any Sector 1 championship, I believe, for Sizzling Sausage. So interesting to see how that affects him going forward for the last 3 rounds of the season. Of course, we have the season break now, so he gets to relax for 6 weeks or so. And then hopefully can put in a lot of practice, come out swinging at Dragon Trail Gardens Reverse. And as Guru said earlier in the stream, There is potential for rain there. It is set to
Yeah, the volatile
RO4
time
and
of year. Yeah.
yeah, it is set to RO4, RO6. But you know, with Gran Turismo, it doesn't always work out that way in terms of whether rain actually hits the track. But yeah, for now, coming up on the agenda, the streaming schedule this Thursday, we have the community series. So if you're a community guy who wants to get in on this awesome racing action, we have Monza community series coming up very soon. It is, of course, in the BMW M3 under BOP. Two 20-minute races and a 10-minute qualifying. Awesome racing action there as always. So always a fun night. So make sure you come out for that. And next Sunday we are back for Division 4, which will be a brilliant 2-hour enduro as well. If anything from the last 3 races or anything to go by, Div 4 will be just as exciting. So looking forward to that.
Very close in the points, and at double points, they'll leave nothing on the table.
Absolutely. So I think we should wrap things up. We've kept people here for almost 3 hours of their time. So, got anything else to say before we wrap things up tonight, Guru?
No, but thank you to the 17 that are still watching, and look forward to catching up with everyone next week. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming out, everybody. It's Guru and Lanosa signing things off for the Division 3 Liquid Solutions Monza Enduro. We'll catch you all next Thursday. Goodbye, guys.
Cheers. See ya.